culture.
We
are
the
Culture.
We are the culture.
Culture. Culture.
Culture.
Culture.
We are that John.
Culture.
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 Culture. Culture. What it do, everybody? It's your boy King Kurt live, and we back at it again, bringing something special to you this Sunday evening, I should say. With the growing concerns of things that happen in the culture, one of the things we try to do here at Head Nerds in Charge is we try to address those things head on. Sometimes those come in the shape of initiatives. Sometimes it comes in the shapes of charitable projects. This one was a very important topic, one in which that we've covered in other programming, especially on my specific editorial segment, King's Court, where we had one of our own, HNIC, come in and give her account of what she was dealing with revenge porn. Many of y'all might remember that. And we've addressed a lot of topics head on, but it seems as though a lot of you motherfuckers didn't get the answer. A lot of people apparently didn't get the message, and this has become prevalent throughout the community. It has ran rampant to a point where it seems as no one's addressing the elephant in the room. Well, the only way that you can really devour an elephant is one bite at a time. So what we've done here is we've compiled a panel of some really dope creatives, some influencers within the community, some professional therapists, and people who can help those who may not know what sexual harassment really is, what it looks like, and what to do if ever you're met with a similar incident. First, I want to show love and bring my ace boom. Black Unicorn, you already know. We back at it again, doing the same shit on a different day. So why was this particular topic not only important to you, but important to the community as a whole, that we had to do a state of the culture address?
At this point, like, ever since I've been vocal about my situation, it's almost on a weekly basis. It feels like that something is happening in this community. Either people are telling me these things personally, and I have like proof, documentation, restraining orders, or whatever that they're showing me. Or like I said, I'm seeing it, I'm hearing it, but I feel like in a way, and I don't want to take any credit for it, but I feel like in a way with me being that voice to say, no, fuck out of here, like we're not about to tolerate that, it has given other people a voice as well, and they're not tolerating it either. And I feel like that a lot of times when it comes to predators, in my opinion, they're banking on the silence of their victims. And it happens and people become silent. But it's like, if we continue to call this shit out, like eventually niggas are going to be scared to do stuff. So they're just not going to do it. And if that's not going to be the case,
scared niggas.
Yeah, and if that's not the case either way, like we're putting it out there that if you do something, people are going to say something. I was brought up in the culture where you see something, you say something, so it's like, if we can't stop these people from having, we can at least train our people as a culture on how to do these things, because it's not taught everywhere. I was just telling Quincy that, like, growing up, I thought every Black person cleaned their house on Sunday to Anita Baker and all Black women knew how to braid. And that is not true. I got roommates. I was like, oh, you niggas is dirty. And I got the hair school, and not everybody knew how to braid. So like these are not things that are taught.
Who don't know how to clean up properly to Anita Baker? God damn it.
They don't, so it's like, these are things that have to be passed down and they have to be taught to us. And it's like, with all that I'm seeing, and then I have little cousins that are like 10 and 12 and they want to come to conventions with me. It's like, we're supposed to be passing the torch, and if we're going to give them this community, we got to give them a safe one. Like, we don't need this bullshit to be happening, so this is a topic that a lot of people, I don't think they realize these things happen. It's unfortunate, everybody wants to have that Disney experience where they just go to a con and have fun, and we all want to, but some people don't know how to keep their hands to themselves or their body parts to themselves, or they just don't know how to act towards other people. So we have to shine a light on these things, and we got to address the elephant in the room. And I think we as a community, we do a good job of, like, when something happens, we tell everybody, whether it's gossip or whether it's an awareness, like, people know. So it's not, because the worst thing about some of these things is, like, these predators are people that we call friends. These people that betray us and do things are people that we hung out with and chill with. And it's like, yo, like, you was doing this the whole time, so we got to spread that awareness. So that's what this is about. It's
interesting that you say it like that, because we have a really dope panel that we're about to introduce to y'all. But I just wanted to speak on one of the reasons why I really, number one, I support HNIC, but even for my own personal one, to see my sisters or people who I care about, whether it be a man or a woman, have that nervousness of seeing a specific somebody at a convention because they feel uncomfortable because of either an interaction or something that happened away from the con. 9 times out of 10, I don't usually get to see a lot of people until we interact at a convention. Yeah. And because I am who I am in my personality, a lot of people are like, oh, Kurt, I'm gonna chill with you because I don't want to run into such and such. Or if I do run into such and such, I'll feel safer with you. And it never clicked to me that it was such a prevalent issue within our community. It goes back to this comment here. Is it really that bad in the nerd community? It's that bad in every community. It's just that we are in a nuanced subculture where it has just become an issue that has been so prevalent to the point of HNIC that people just aren't talking about it. It's always been a bad issue. It's just it's the fact of the matter is a lot of people were remaining silent about it. And this is our opportunity to use the platform that we have built to be able to address these things and address these things with people who not only you can trust to give you accurate information, but to give you insight into the nuances of sexual harassment, because it's not that cookie cutter that work video that y'all saw when you first got hired with the creepy old white man on his head talking about, hi, Susan. It ain't always that. It's a lot of things, especially within the cosplay community, because a lot of times just because she's got on a specific type of cosplay that may be a bit revealing, that don't give you the right to go over there, put your hands on somebody, even if you want to take pictures, even if you're doing a pose. It's so nuanced that it's becoming an issue and people are becoming uncomfortable. People are afraid. So when it becomes a problem like this, we got to speak up and say something. This is us as a team supporting each other and saying something. So first, I'm gonna kick it over to HNIC. I'm just the Negro on the panel tonight. HNIC's going to be moderating this discussion, and she has selected and handpicked some really important and dope individuals to help us have this discussion. HNIC, can you go one by one introducing each one?
Sure. You gonna put them on the screen? And
yeah. Once you say their name, and we're gonna make it look like real fancy and shit. So all right.
All right. The first person we have is Najir. He is a photographer, and like I said, he is in the cosplay community, and that's one thing that I know he knows about this subject. We had talks about this subject on how women can harass women and men can harass men. But like I said, as a photographer, he gets to see it firsthand, how he takes pictures with people and the people in the pictures might be uncomfortable with something, and not consenting or whatever. But as a male, I think that he has a lot to offer to this panel as well. Because like I said, he sees things that other people don't.
Excellent. Well, thank you for look. She served you up just nice. If you can, good brother, give yourself an introduction.
Man, I forgot I was even part of this, man. I was just listening to y'all conversation. I thought I was just experiencing this show. But no, I truly appreciate it. And yeah, it's been something we've been talking about officially for a lot. And being today is the day that we all came together to bring this. I think it's no better than now to address these things, to put things into perspective. And it's not a trick because I'm a photographer or anything that I see certain things. It's just that I just want to call spade a spade. And from my tenure of being at cons, whether it was just me attending as a fan, whether it was me attending as press, whether it's me on the floor as a photographer, I was like, hey, I see some things that like I'm just baffled that people just don't talk about. And you know, being a black male in this space is also very unique. It's a very unique experience as well too, especially one that has to interact with any and everybody if you want to actually do some photography. So, yep. So I'm happy to be here tonight, and hopefully I can put out some good messages that folks can take from this tonight, along with everybody else, and we can start to move towards the right direction with everything.
Yeah, thank you, Nigeria, for coming on, because you know what? One of the things that we would like for this particular stream to be shared with every individual who attends a con moving forward as just an informational video as to best practices and actionable things that they can do to not only protect themselves, but also educate yourself in how to protect others, and even sometimes do a self-check-in to make sure that you are acting appropriately. Because a lot of times, if you can police yourself, nobody else got to police you. Because people like me and Nate, we put hands on people. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I'm from the ass whooping era of things, and I don't really have a problem whooping somebody's ass, you know, by proxy or, you know, for myself. But we got people that's going to teach us to do it the right way. We got our way. Well, we're going to learn how to do it the right way. I mean, don't say HNIC said to go whoop somebody's ass. That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're saying.
All I'm saying is, you touch my titty and I don't know you getting a fist in your mouth. So
you know what? You touch my titty and I don't know you getting a fist in your mouth. No titty touching. Not my titties or her titties. And if you touch both our titties, we better know you. So go ahead, Nate. Just introduce the next person, because it took us 5 seconds to start talking about titties. This is why.
All right, go ahead and bring Love and Teffy on. These are our two women from HNIC, and listen, very smart, very, very intelligent. You know, and I appreciate. I don't want to put Love out there, but she says it every week. You know, definitely needed her to have that queer perspective to put everything in line as well. And Teffy is going to tell you if some shit is wrong, and if it stank, it stank. And if it ain't, it ain't. So I wanted them to be on here.
It's okay though. I gave my consent to be the token.
She was like Kurt, so I'm just a token queer. I was like,
She wasn't at first, but
it's okay. All right. Consent is everything, as people will learn by the end of this message.
What's up, guys?
Go ahead, Teffy. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, Daddy, go.
No, what's up, guys? It's at TeffyWonder here. Really, kind of like touched that Shanae wanted me to be a part of this, because I know we've had conversations where I'm just like, listen, I don't know how to stop bad things from happening. I just know how to try and maneuver in spaces where I can lessen the chance of it happening to me, and I try and share that with other people. So I'm here to share that with you.
Listen, and we love that. And it's funny, this comment is really important. Me and my boyfriend have been wanting to go to a con for a long time. Thank you for sharing this. We're not trying to go to jail, because we will get busy if need be. Listen, this is the reason why we're doing these kind of informational streams, because going to a con,
I'd be like, oh, what these niggas just saying back?
No, because going to a con should be an enjoyable experience. Going to a con should be like, you should not. We all know that we have to worry about certain things, but there are certain things that you should not feel like you should have to worry about. And remember, there are children at these cons.
Yeah,
there are people who are introverted who may not speak up like me or Shanae or Teffy. Right? Yeah, you know I had to edit it. Go ahead,
or to even add, there's people on the spectrum that will have social issues that may, you know, not understand exactly the environment they're in. So you are getting a handful of different personalities and different ways how people social. But as you said, we can do our part in order to make everything to make things better.
Exactly. And throughout this entire stream, please know the HNIC brand is absolutely raw and uncut. We are not censored. We don't believe in censorship as long as you ain't saying something out of pocket or something that we got to put our foot in your ass about. We check each other and we check people, but we will not check our language. So just know, if you're sitting with the babies, I hope they don't mind cussing, because fuck that. I'm just gonna say,
yeah. I hope they don't mind cussing. Not
we cuss, and yeah, and if you a convention, don't be no bitch. Go ahead and say share it anyway, because this is how normal people talk. All right, so Shanae, go ahead on and bring up the rest of the panel.
Bring on Wendell. Wendell is a cosplayer in the community who is an elder in the community. I don't want to just say, nigga, you old.
OG, triple OG.
He has been around for a very long time. I'm sure not only does he have wisdom, but I'm sure he's seen a lot of shit and fuckery that he can speak on as well.
Yeah. But I ain't gonna go into the current one too much. Well, maybe further in this talk, but yeah. There's been a whole lot of fuckery and nonsense and other shit like that. I'm just gonna put it out there real quick like this. Y'all see my face? If you see me at a con and you got somebody fucking with you, come straight to me.
Please.
Period.
Definitely do that.
I don't care if I know you or not.
Handled.
Just come to me and say, Unc, I need your help. And I got you.
That's
He
real.
is definitely that person. Like, before I could even ask him, he was like, I'm down. I was like, see, this is why.
He said, stop right there.
Yeah.
I'm in.
No, and please, for those watching, make sure that y'all share this in every one of your nerdy groups. I don't care if they say, they put that little block in there, but like, oh, this ain't what our group. It doesn't matter. We want to make sure that this is shared in every community that involves us, because yes, it is a larger problem. And that's not who we're addressing. We are addressing the nerd community as a whole, not just the black nerds, but I'm talking about the entire nerd.
All of y'all.
Because at the end of this, I'm just saying, you can't say that there's no information out there.
Right.
That's
all.
In
actuality, Kurt, let's take it back to what you said in the beginning. This isn't actually just about the nerd community. This is about community, period.
Right.
Because, you walk up in the job, you're going to have somebody fucking with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because it happens.
Yeah, so I want people, like somebody asked if this is a safe space or whatever. This thing, all things happen everywhere. Things happen at the hair salon, nail salon. People are getting shot in church, but it's not like they're preventing you from going to church. It's just like the churches is like, hey, listen, get somebody at the door with the shotgun. Niggas act crazy. It's just gonna happen. You feel me? These are the type of things you have to protect yourself, because these type of dangers are everywhere. You don't want to just have this la-di-da type of mentality that nothing can happen, because yes, something can happen. You know what I mean? Or not me, like, yes, you too. So
Naruto will come up and smack your ass. Please don't think because he dressed like Naruto or Goku or Superman that everybody who's dressed like a superhero acts like a superhero. Yeah. Keep that in mind.
All right, bring on Quincy. She is another one of our HNIC ladies. She is an amazing artist. And like I said, I know she has a lot of perspective as well. And I know she probably, I'm not gonna put the business out there, but I'm quite sure she gets some weird messages sometimes from a lot of you niggas. So I know she has some stuff to add to this conversation as well.
Yeah, I think over time I have groomed an image of that. I just give off, don't fuck with me. So I don't get a lot of that these days. Yeah, when I was in my 20s, early 30s, stuff like that, people was coming for a sister. I'm in my right 40s and people like, nah, auntie ain't for that.
You seasoned.
Yeah.
So you seasoned, baby.
She got 35 years of whooping ass under her belt. She said, I ain't worried about this no more. I will say this. I moderate a lot of the HNIC DMs. Like for y'all, you might be under Teffy fan page, but I see what y'all send her. Nigga. Y'all listen, some of the messages I really feel for my sisters on the panel, because I could only imagine the harassment that you get via DM.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Because we're gonna address a lot of stuff today.
Yeah, man. Because y'all niggas don't have no
and
fucking
our last and final person on this panel, it is our therapist. Let me add this, just because he's a therapist. Please don't put no weird stuff in the comments. We are talking about sexual harassment and predators. Don't tell him that the bipolar medicine that you're taking is making your balls hurt. We can't fix that today, okay? Don't hit him up on another time, okay? This is about
growth
this.
on my nuts regular because I switched my medication last week.
If you're having any problems with your balls, you can contact Lovely. It's okay.
No, damn.
Consent. Great example of consent.
Right off.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, thank you for agreeing. Like me and you had some conversations back to back, and it is just like the stuff that we was talking about. I was like, yes, where have you been? It just feels so good. So I want people to know that this is not just reopening old wounds that you might have had or whatever. Like this is going to be some information where it's like, oh shit, like that was harassment or that is manipulation. Like I want you guys to open your eyes to these type of discussions and call a spade a spade. So these things can, you can't stop a situation from happening if you're not aware, if you don't know what's actually going on, So I don't want you to think, we did the trigger warning and everything like that, but I want you to know, like, this is healing. Get you some lavender going in the diffuser, light your incense, because we about to. It's a feel good session. Don't worry about it. We're gonna call some stuff out and we're gonna make it better.
Yes.
All right. So then, Sinead, take us away as we begin our State of the Culture address: sexual harassment in nerd culture.
All right, so I wrote some things down, right? So let me start off by saying I like to talk about things in the community, and I like to take things from the community. So I did a poll on Instagram, and let me see, maybe about 17 people answered this poll. So now this is out of 100%, 20% of people have been touched inappropriately at a con. 51% have had somebody say something to them that made them uncomfortable while in costume. 40% have been followed after leaving a convention. 2% have been sexually assaulted at a con, and at least 65% have been or knows a victim of sexual abuse within the con space. Whether it's 2%, whether it's 51%, those numbers are way too high. And so this is why, like I said, we're not here to scare you. We're trying to shed a light on the dangers, and we want people to be vigilant. By no means, again, is HNIC or anybody on this panel saying choose violence, okay? Because I do understand retaliation is a thing. I understand, So, like I said, just for myself, I didn't consider certain things to be harassment until I went to court, and like the judge was like, "Oh yeah, no, this is trespassing." Like y'all like these jealous type of relationships or whatever. Like somebody, if you tell them don't call you anymore and they call you 75 times, like that's a problem. And like the judge will look at that as a problem. But some people might just see it as, oh, that's cute. No, the fuck it's not. Like you're a fucking psycho. But these are the things that I'm trying to shed a light on, and talk about these things. And like I said, we don't know unless we do the research. So one of the first things that I want to kick off to talk about is consent, because before every convention, everybody always says cosplay is not consent. But what actually is consent? Because I don't know if a lot of people know what that is. So Anthony provided this video for us to watch. So we're going to watch this video real quick.
If you're still struggling with consent, just imagine instead of initiating sex, you're making them a cup of tea. You say, "Hey, would you like a cup of tea?" And they go, "Oh my God, I would love a cup of tea, thank you." Then you know they want a cup of tea. If you say, "Hey, would you like a cup of tea?" And they're like, I'm not really sure. Then you can make them a cup of tea, or not, but be aware that they might not drink it. And if they don't drink it, then, and this is the important bit, don't make them drink it. Just because you made it doesn't mean you're entitled to watch them drink it. And if they say, "No thank you," then don't make them tea at all. Just don't make them tea. Don't make them drink tea. Don't get annoyed at them for not wanting tea. They just don't want tea, okay? They might say, yes, please, that's kind of you. And then when the tea arrives, they actually don't want the tea at all. Sure, that's kind of annoying as you've gone to all the effort of making the tea, but they remain under no obligation to drink the tea. They did want tea, now they don't. Some people change their mind in the time it takes to boil the kettle, brew the tea, and add the milk. And it's okay for people to change their mind, and you are still not entitled to watch them drink it. And if they're unconscious, don't make them tea. Unconscious people don't want tea, and they can't answer the question, do you want tea? Because they're unconscious. Okay, maybe they were conscious when you asked them if they wanted tea, and they said yes, but in the time it took you to boil the kettle or brew the tea and add the milk, they are now unconscious. You should just put the tea down, make sure the unconscious person is safe, and this is the important part again, don't make them drink the tea. They said yes then, sure, but unconscious people don't want tea. If someone said yes to tea, started drinking it, and then passed out before they'd finished it, don't keep on pouring it down their throat. Take the tea away. Make sure they are safe, because unconscious people don't want tea. Trust me on this. If someone said yes to tea around your house last Saturday, that doesn't mean they want you to make them tea all the time. They don't want you to come around to their place unexpectedly and make them tea and force them to drink it, going, but you wanted tea last week, or to wake up to find you pouring tea down their throat, going, but you wanted tea last night. If you can understand how completely ludicrous it is to force people to have tea when they don't want tea, and you are able to understand when people don't want tea, then how hard is it to understand when it comes to sex? Whether it's tea or sex, consent is everything. And on that note, I'm going to make myself a cup of tea.
So Anthony, can you elaborate on all of that?
Yeah, I love that video. I love showing it to students.
Yeah, that was perfect.
I love showing it to clients. One, because there are no genders or sexualities in that, so it opens it to anybody, because anybody can be a perpetrator or a victim of sexual harassment. The other thing is, when you think how ridiculous it is to pour tea down someone's throat who can't consent to tea or actively drink the tea, if you think that's silly, you can see how it would be silly to do anything else to them. And I think we live in a society where I think 1 in 3 women have been assaulted and 1 in 5 males have been assaulted. This is very important. And something that y'all touched on earlier is education. And these are things we don't talk about, but we've had movies from the 80s, the 90s that perpetrate certain behaviors that are teaching people how to interact with people that they're interested in. And we don't teach healthy communication. Don't teach assertive communication. And I think this is one of those things. If someone can't assertively say yes, they can't say, yes, I like this. If you aren't checking in with them constantly, hey, are you okay with this still? Like, I like the part where they go, if someone gave you consent in the early in the month, doesn't mean you can come back around at the end of the month and you still have access. No, you still have to get consent. I don't care if they have an outline tattoo of a handprint on their ass. That doesn't mean you could put your hand there, even if it says smack me. No, still ask for consent. And I think that's really important about the video.
I think, like, one of the things that kind of stood out to me about the video, I mean, you know, there are varying degrees of ignorance. You know, no, genuinely, because
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, because I'm like, yeah, you know, if she's unconscious, of course not. You know, don't do that. But what stood out to me was, even if she was conscious and into it and engaged with sex and then passes out, I know, listen, and y'all know, Kurt keep it 100, played football. It's a certain machoistic culture that's like, no, go ahead. She already gave consent. No, if she's unconscious, and that's why I always say consent is this interesting thing that isn't just, oh, I put the stamp on it and it just continues to go. No, sometimes consent has to be given on a second by second basis. Mm-hmm. For every moment that you're with this individual, she is aware and consenting. The minute she is no longer conscious, the consent is revoked. And I think that's, say it again, Anthony. I'm sorry.
The ability to consent. And that's really important. The ability to consent. And consent is 2 parts. One is asking for permission, and the other is giving permission. Not, I think they gave permission, not, I assume they gave permission, not, they liked this before, but they actively gave you permission right now. And I think that we also separate, there are people who are sexually offenders that aren't predators, right? People are doing things because they think it's okay. They think it's okay. And we have people who are actively hunting and perpetuating harm because that is their habitual behavior. And I think these are really important. And I'm not excusing anybody's behavior. I hope that doesn't come off this way. I am saying that one of the things, this is one of the reasons I agreed to come on here, is because it's really important to educate people. We have people perpetrating acts that they think because we'll go on that later.
No, listen, I was rocking and rolling with you.
Right?
Yeah, because I never thought of it like that. It is a difference between a predator and an offender. And I guess that's somebody who just does, and like I said, varying degrees of ignorance. Like if I'm specifically seeking to enact either sexual harassment or to rape or to do, then I am absolutely a predator. But if somebody who engages in it because they don't know better, well, guess what? At the end of this, if you watch this video and you see all this information and you say, but I'm not a predator. No, if you see this video at the end of it and you still act the fool, then you are absolutely a predator, in my opinion. I'm saying in Kurt's opinion, because you have accurate information and knowledge now.
But hey, Kurt, there's another aspect to that too, because when you're looking at people who are, these so-called unconscious, you can be meeting. It can be like me going to hug Lovely when I see her, but I go ahead and slip my hand down to her ass during the hug. That's doing it without consent, unless she's giving me prior consent that it's okay.
Right.
And even with the prior consent, it's like,
right. And even with the prior consent, it's like, whoa, okay.
Roll to the,
right, exactly.
If I tell you, hey, I want you to move, don't give me no hard time about that. It's my body. Exactly. You don't have no entitlement, no right to it.
Exactly. And those are the type of things that people are still doing today. And icons, because they're like, okay, yeah, he's my friend or she's my friend. Or it could be two women. It could be two women. And, they go up and fluff a titty and shit. And
that
you're like,
happens to me all the time.
He said, and people, I'm so done. But it's true.
And they think it's okay just because I'm a woman and they're a woman.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know you.
Like, no,
for me, I have a genuine question. And once again, I'm on here to help support and kind of learn from myself as well. So with that being said, when I think unconscious is like, okay, absolutely. Okay, somebody's unconscious, like you said, and they can no longer they no longer have the ability to give consent, right? What about inebriation? Because what I've noticed a lot is if somebody's drunk or high out of their minds, if you can gauge that this person is out of their mind, would that constitute a situation like being unconscious? Because can they really make a sound decision to consent?
Okay, so I'm not a lawyer, but legally,
right? Allegedly.
Yeah,
make it an ethics question. Like
right
now, but I would say this is that if you drink and you've known to get drunk, and if you've had sex during having drunk, and you could be like, I'm fine with had drunk sex with my partner,
right?
That's lit. Yeah, you're great. Now, I would say this, though, for your own safety, since legally you cannot consent, since legally we can't do this, that maybe you shouldn't do that without somebody that you're in a trusted relationship with. And even then, you don't, because again, you can't consent. You can't, if you are out your mind, if you're inebriated, if you're blackout drunk, and yes, maybe you trust your partner, your partner knows you and everything like that. For your safety, because courts aren't kind to people with our skin tone, I would say,
talk about it.
No, hey, there have been situations where I've been with women who have got like, oh yeah, we have drinks, and I realize they can't handle the alcohol, and then they've cussed me out because like, no, we should end right here, right?
No, that's
because at the end of the day, like, who really enjoys necromancy? Like, let's just, or like, necrophilia. Like, the whole point of engaging is having that mutual desire. So at that point, if you don't care that she can't even respond to you, that means one, you're a selfish lover. You only care about your own orgasm. And two, it means that you have a serious fucking issue, because the only reason why you're engaging is for you and you alone. So that's why you don't even consider her being or them being unconscious, them telling you, I don't know, or whatever the fuck, because you're only thinking about yourself.
And what we're talking about right now is agency, right? Are we valuing people's agency? Are we valuing not even though we're valuing our own agency, but are we valuing someone else's agency? And even if the person is inebriated and high, and you're not, and they say, no, I want this, you have to go, one, look out for yourself, but also say they don't have the agency right now to give me permission. They don't have the ability right now to give me permission. And would I want this for my sister, mother, daughter? Right? Would I want would I want this for me? If you're a heterosexual male and you were hanging out with a non-heterosexual friend and they told you and you were like, oh, and you got drunk and said something and they did something without your permission, how would you feel about that?
Oh, bro, let me tell you. Listen, so new experiences for Kurt. Recently got hit on by a man, and I had to go to my sisters and literally be like, I feel uncomfortable. I need an adult because I'm not sure how to tactfully tell this individual without coming off discriminatory, and I don't want to come off like I'm homophobic. It's just I have no desire for your penis. So I need to I need to have a conversation. No, Sinead, you know, I just don't. I mean, it's just not his penis. You know, it might be a wild night one day. But I'm just saying, in that moment, this particular person,
I will never say never.
It wasn't my twist, and I that was my first time, and I said to them, "Holy shit, is this what y'all go through all the time when you have to deal with men who you don't desire or want?" Because it's not like, oh, it's all men. It's just I don't desire this particular individual, whether it be your orientation or whatever. And that was the first time I genuinely felt not sympathetic but empathetic to what women deal with on a daily basis.
And I think that's and not to sorry.
No, go ahead. I'll follow up with you.
Okay, and I think and I'm sorry that happened to you, but I think that's a valuable experience. It's a valuable experience that a lot of men can't actually put into words. And my awakening was when I was placed on a campus.
No, I said it the way I said it, and I don't get. Look, damn it, you gonna get these words how Kurt know how to say them. I'm not fumbling over shit. We keeping it real today. I'm sorry, Ann. I apologize.
I work on a campus that was for sex trafficked women from like 13 to 22, I think. And it was only me and one other male on this whole campus of about 100 and something women. And you go to the dorms to get somebody for therapy, and there would be like pants unbuttoned, or they would open their doors with no clothes on, their underwear or something. They would make comments as you go past one of the dorms and stuff like that. I genuinely felt uncomfortable. And while I thought I understood what catcalling meant, like I thought I understood how like some of my female friends that were, you know, very endowed in front and they couldn't jog without having comments. They said, I can't jog because I feel uncomfortable. That was the first time I actually understood what they were talking about because I didn't know how to handle it. I wasn't taught how to handle it. I didn't know how to handle it. And I think that's a very valuable experience.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what Ant just said, I'm glad you had that experience. As fucked up as it may sound, I'm glad you went through that shit because more men need to go through it and come out of it thinking the exact same way you because
you think about it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, because what usually winds up happening, a dude to get upset and then the motherfucker will want to fight.
Right. But yo, Wendell, the craziest part is the boy started stalking me. Like
but check it. Look at how Little Boozy fucking responded to a bunch of this shit that's been going on with him.
Oh God,
not Bussy. Actually.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with you.
One of these little motherfuckers. But you see how they want to fight. They want to do this. They want to come off negative about shit.
Right.
No, I mean, man up. Since everybody's on this man up shit, man up and look at how it actually affects the opposite sex or somebody who isn't you.
But see, that's as far as he's concerned. I had nothing to even. I paid him no mind when he said what he said because I checked out a long time ago. When I think his son was 13, he got his son a prostitute.
To make sure he wasn't gay.
So that's fine, but not somebody being
to make
gay.
Sure he wasn't gay.
I'm just using him as I was just using him.
Hold on. We want to make sure that we don't overtalk each other. But I think Wendell was just basically showing the hypocrisy.
That was the name that popped in my head.
I was agreeing with the hypocrisy.
Yeah, right.
That ugly motherfucker keeps popping up, and I keep seeing him, so his name automatically popped in my head. So that's why I use him as my example.
I was gonna say his son was like 12 and his nephew was 11, so it wasn't just his kid, it was his kid and his nephew.
Right.
That he paid a prostitute to sexually assault these children in the interest of making sure they are heterosexual.
Right. Nadir,
scary stuff
you
like
were
that.
telling me about a situation. You were in the group chat we had. You said something about like sometimes when you take pictures of these cosplayers, like they want to recreate what they see in the anime and they want to kiss or touch or something like that. Or you have seen women on women harassing each other, and it just kind of gets swept under the rug because they're women. Can you elaborate on that?
So something I was going to say earlier, but I was trying to wait till a couple of thoughts got put out, is that I strongly feel that we need to start addressing proper terminology as well too, because people just slander people with all different sorts of things, and we really don't know what degree a situation is. You can't just call somebody a predator because they were interested in you and you wasn't interested in them. That's not a predator. And then you got people who are just being called creeps, but actually they're actually full blown harassing people. So it's like, I think we need to understand like what certain situations are and being able to assess the proper titles attached to them. But yeah, I've definitely like you're saying, I've definitely seen some things where I was kind of like unsure. And you know, these to be clear too, these things aren't just solely happening on my account, but they're happening. You know, you've been to a con, you see where most people shoot in group settings and people all around. I kind of see how people are kind of like just the weird interactions of how somebody could not know somebody, but somebody could be in the same universe as the character. Then the person's like, oh, you should take pictures with me. And then like, you didn't know that person a second ago, but then you all are doing this. And then you're like, oh, you got to do this because this is what they're doing in it. And I'm like, is it something I'm missing? Because I did not know that's what essentially the culture of the con was, where it's like, if you're the character and I'm the character, then we gotta do what the character did, and it's just totally acceptable. And I think that much like somebody else said earlier, there is going to be a level of ignorance, and there's going to be a blatant level of ignorance, and there's going to be a malicious level of ignorance. And I think this is where like we start to come into play, where we have to start telling people like, just because this and this doesn't mean that you have to do this and this, or just because this and this, you're not entitled to this and that. And we'll obviously iron all of the specifics out, but it's to me, I just feel like there's just too much of too much of entitlement amongst people as to what they have access to, what they're allowed to do, what's deemed acceptable because it's considered the con, and like a lot of this stuff just really has to end.
Amen.
And real quick, I just want to address something in the chat. This was brought up. It said in some cultures, men do take their sons for their first heterosexual experience. I just want to speak to this. Even in a culture where that's widely accepted, doesn't necessarily make it the right thing, because culture in many cultures, there's tribal scarring. Yeah, there's tribal scarring.
Like we are unlearning a lot as a culture.
Yeah, and that's not to say that there aren't certain cultures that still do it to this day. But once again, we have to start being better and breaking cycles of not only dangerous practices, but cultural things that do not add to our future. Because once again, rape culture is real. Abuse culture is really real. And a lot of things that I learned and I was taught in the 80s, I'm talking about in the 80s, in the hood, in Philly,
right,
was so predatory to look at now. We got a video from A Different World that we're gonna play later. But that was what A Different World came out. What was that? The early 90s?
Late 80s.
Or 80s and 90s?
Late 80s, yeah,
late 80s.
I just want to say, if you look at pop culture, if you look at movies, if you look at the way men preyed on women, and even though she said no, no means yes, and she just playing hard terms like hard to get, and that woman gave you a hard no, and those were like that was our culture. That the man can still pursue this woman. Look, even that movie where he's standing outside her room with the big ass boombox at 4:00 in the morning, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's cute." He playing. No, that is harassment.
Listen, I love old music, and Teddy Pendergrass is one of my favorites. But think about "Come On and Go With Me."
No, don't talk about Teddy.
That woman down, and she probably a nigga. Come on, just
that whole
come the fuck on before I change my mind.
She's saying no. He like, "Come on and go with me." Oh yeah.
Right.
And eventually she went. But he coaxed her through the whole. That was like a 7-minute song where he begged this woman. She's like, all right, nigga, come on.
He talking
It's
right out the
raining. I
draws.
don't want to walk anyway. Come on.
Go ahead, Ed. I'm sorry.
No. When you talk about these other cultures, you also have to look at the context. There's other cultures that have elder men and women teaching kids how to engage in courtship, sex, marriage, fatherhood, things like from a young age. And then maybe, and also you got to take some of these cultures, when you were living to 35, you began to have mates earlier on in life. So there's a whole different context. And culture evolves. We know more about how things affect us. We know in our culture, we know how things can manifest in our behaviors and be informed by being exposed to things too early. And I'm not discounting anybody's culture. I think that it's easy to nitpick and say, oh, well, they had sex when they were 14 and it was a ritualized thing, or things like, how is sex valued in that culture? How are women valued in that culture? Spent time in Scandinavia or Iceland in particularly, right? It's there is no slut shaming for the most part in modern culture. There is no broken family. I was talking to somebody when I was there, and he was like, we don't have that here. I decide I like a guy, I'm with that guy. We don't want to be with that guy anymore, then we're just not with that guy. There's no even in their culture before Christianity took a hold on, women had the power to divorce men. So if you didn't keep your woman happy, she'd go leave you for Erickson over there in a minute, right?
Erickson specifically.
Yeah, you know,
his name Thor. It'd be like, God damn,
right?
But why Erickson?
And it's
like Dexter or Dantelio or somebody like that. Why gotta be?
I was just going for the
those suave ass niggas.
That dude with the long doggone.
Yeah. Erickson sound like he got long blonde braids down his head. Just walk around with a hammer for no reason. You know what I mean? Look at Erickson over there.
Like pimping on people.
That motherfucker ain't no carpenter. Put that hammer down. God damn it.
And it was the point where they're about to outlaw porn just because they found it was degrading to women in their culture, right? And it was very interesting talking, and it was a lot more women were more free to be aggressive in that situation in their dating scene. So I don't know. I think that we can't just nitpick and take things we like, right? Oh, they had sex at an early age, or the father introduced them to sex. But the father talks to them the value of sex. The father tells them about the responsibility of sex. The father talks to them about all other things that lead into it. So I think it's a valid point to bring up other cultures and what they take from it. But we have to take it all in context. I think the other thing you got to talk about is effective is healthy communication, and I want to keep talking. There's things that you guys are talking about when it comes to assertive communication, and we basically break down communication into passive, passive-aggressive, aggressive, and assertive, right? Now, and if I'm talking too long, just let me know. Sometimes I will ramble about this stuff. So you have these communication styles, and if you took it as people bring up the alpha wolf, beta wolf stuff. That stuff doesn't really exist. The scientists that actually looked at those.
We know. We don't pay them niggas no mind.
Yeah.
And they found out
they usually need lotion.
Group you in a category, you be like, you one of them niggas. Okay.
Yeah.
So
if you say alpha male, you either hotep or you ashy, one or the other. So
yeah. And they found out that people take different roles in different social issues. So the wolf they thought was alpha during the hunt was the beta role during the interacting with the children or whatever. And we do that in our lives. So you can be passive with your parents, assertive with your friends, aggressive at work, right?
Yeah.
And again, it would take me a longer time to break them down, but we want to practice assertive communication. Valuing my agency, what I want and what I need, valuing your agency, and realizing that if we can't come to a compromise, I'm going to be okay either way. I don't need to force you to agree with me. And I value my own opinion enough that I won't be pressured into forcing myself to agree with you.
Can I just add something to that? Like, your value should not be determined whether or not you get an affirmative answer or that you can coerce someone else into an affirmative answer. Like, you are still a valid human being. You still have plenty of other opportunities. Like, if you are cute, just because I'm like, hey, no, I'm good, nigga, you still cute. You don't need me to tell you you're cute for you to feel validated about yourself. Like, I think, like, especially kind of like people with like predatory like tendencies, it's like their self-worth is wrapped up in your yes. And it's like, No. Your self-worth is yours. It don't have nothing to do with me. I'm just gonna go over here. You are still worthy and all those other things as a child of God or whatever you believe in, even though I said no. So please go about your business, because you about to get called everything other than a child of God if I gotta keep standing here.
You know what?
Well,
I find it interesting, and we talk about this stuff in nerd culture all the time. A lot of y'all, I don't want to say y'all, because I got to add myself, because I looked up to these same. A lot of our heroes had really toxic behavior.
Go
ahead, please, because I run my mouth all day with it. Please.
No, I was just gonna say, how many of us was glorifying MTV or I can't think of the name of it now. Uncut, BT Uncut.
Oh, bro! I'm sorry, I didn't watch that. I was reading my Bible.
That was a bait question.
Yeah. As soon as I walked in the trap, I was like, my mama might watch this. I don't know if I want to go here. But no, genuinely.
Video? Like, no, never mind.
No, tip drill? No, I never seen that.
Not at all. But I mean, like, if you looked at it, though, you just like
they laughing at it. They laughing at us in the chat. Look, doggone it. Everybody watch BET Uncut. Let's keep it up. Everybody stayed up late. But it's interesting that you said that, because sometimes we take it in nerd culture. It's embedded in our culture. That's one of the reasons why degrading women in hip hop was always.
Talk about, if we're gonna, not even hip hop, if we're gonna talk about nerd culture, like how many nerds glorify Harley and the Joker? Like, that nigga was crazy.
Yeah, that's not relationship goals.
Like, yes, bitch.
That's not what you want.
Yeah, you need to be glorifying Gomez and Morticia. See, they can be weird, but Gomez always got consent, even when they was into some wild shit.
Exactly.
Period. Okay?
They trying to fuck on a grave, and she said, "Yes, you can." That's
and if she put that hand up, he stopped.
No, he stopped.
You exactly. That thing.
And didn't he stop? Didn't he stop? He was like, "You know what? You're right, baby. You got that hot eye. And I know how y'all do."
Take the time. Your daddy here and everything. My bad.
Yeah, right. But that's a good point to you, Nick. I mean, and sometimes you don't think about these things. And once again, we can laugh and joke and say, but it's fake. But these are the things that train us.
Yeah, look, they had the cars, they had the chain, they had the women. I mean, they had the hot song. They were on top of the mountain, and so it was exclusive because you had to wait after dark in order to see it. So it was a big deal. And you don't think everybody the next day was like, "Bro, I got to get me that Bullets throwback jersey. I got to get me a chain. If this is the key to success, I gotta follow these same steps." And little do you know, you walking down the wrong alley in the wrong dark path, and
at the wrong time.
But see,
and not to mention, you got other people giving you, affirmation too. Once you do it, then the next person look at you like, "Oh, he's doing it." The next person's doing it, and then it's going and going and going and going and going.
But I want to make sure that there's a difference, because Terrence said, "Well, watch the pussy everywhere video." Remember, everybody in that video got paid and consented to whatever was going. We're not talking about grown people doing grown things in grown spaces. Look, sex is going to happen. What we're talking about is being responsible and making sure that everything, not 99.9%, no, 100% of the people are okay with what's going on in the room, because peer pressure is a real thing.
Yep.
Social anxiety is a real thing, and gaslighting. And that's something interesting that we're going to really get into, because listen, I will tell y'all from day one, I hate that term. I hate that term because it's so often misused. Look, see, love through a camera, because she said, "Put up with this."
I was that upset.
Love said, "God damn it."
On that gaslighting note, I had to figure out what the fuck it was, because I'm older than all of y'all. I'll be 50 in a couple of months.
Damn,
gaslighting, and I'm saying, what the fuck is gaslighting? Besides turning on the fucking stove.
No, but gaslighting, it came from a movie, but then it became a clinical term. I'm gonna have to defer to you.
I'm serious. I'm like, yo, where this bullshit come from?
And I don't want to take it away from Nate, because I know Nate has a specific outline that she wants to go through, but I just don't understand. Okay, so gaslighting is when we called it finessing. Somebody finessed you. Like, to me, and this is, once again, you might have to educate Kurt, because to me, if you can get finessed, that's your fault.
Right.
Damn.
Listen.
That's why that. Yeah, I mean, Look, I'm right with you on that. I thought the same thing first, but that's why they're not the same words, because as soon as you apply that, then you're like, oh yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Help me to better understand what is gaslighting and how does that play a role in sexual harassment? Because once again, we used to laud and revere those who could talk themselves into not necessarily sex, but you fast talkers. You know, I can sell raid to a roach and catch up popsicles to motherfuckers with white gloves. That used to be a thing to be proud of. But how does that adversely affect?
So before Ant gives an example, I had my therapist give me an example of that. Like I was he was telling me that if somebody says that you offended them, you offended them. Like you can't say, if you apologize and you say, well, I'm sorry if I offended you. It's no if, you offended that person. Just be sorry about it. So if that's, in a way, I'm like, well, you could be sincere, but the fact that I'm like, well, if I did, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, because that can be a form of,
you were offended by what I said.
That part, like, it's still putting the responsibility on you for feeling how you feel versus how their actions affected you or may have triggered you.
Now,
I'm sorry, go ahead,
the best explanations I've heard yet.
So
go ahead, Ann. I'll shut up.
So no. Gonna try to distill this. So gaslighting typically it started off as meanings messing or undermining someone's perception of reality. So if you know I'm cheating on you, but every time you bring it up, it's like, hey, were you with so and so? My friend saw you with so and so, and I go, why don't you love me anymore? If you love me, why do you always bring this up? Or do you want to get rid of me? Is that what you're trying to do? Are you trying to make up an excuse to get rid of me so that we can break up? But it's my fault, not yours. Is that's what happening? Yeah. So that would be an example of gaslighting.
So and once again, I'm just following along. It's building a false reality to excuse toxic behavior.
Yes. And now the other thing,
I got it. Okay. Oh, sorry.
The thing that kind of worries me with, I think I know what your therapist was saying, but so there's a thing of saying like, oh, I'm sorry if you were offended. Like you're not taking any responsibility of what just happened, right? That could be a thing. Versus you being responsible for someone else's feelings of I'm trying to think of an example. Hey, you wore that color and you knew I was wearing that color today. You did that to offend me. And you go, hey, I'm sorry if you were offended. That's not the same thing as gaslighting. Is that like you said? So I want to make sure you saying you're not responsible for someone else's feelings is completely okay. It is completely okay if you not be responsible for someone else's feelings. You doing a good example is I hate when clients come to my office and they say something like, "Oh, is she crazy?" Well, what did you do to elicit that behavior that made her act like that informed her behavior?
That's the question people don't like answering or asking.
Right. So that to me is more in line a gaslighting. I think that's more in line with what your therapist was saying. Maybe I don't want to speak for her.
No, yeah.
So how does gaslighting fit into sexual harassment?
Well, because when you come forth with how you feel, a person can be like, well, my intention wasn't that. So what you have to say
I
is
didn't do
valid.
that.
Or if I did something to offend you, then you need to, like think about why you got triggered instead of me doing something wrong. It can literally make a person who was abused emotionally and mentally and physically all throughout their life, and they feel like they have power. And now when they are questioning how they feel in a situation, instead of accepting that as their reality, now you're just like, well, you crazy or you tripping, and that's why you feel that. It's not me doing something wrong.
So,
then
love, to your point,
to question themselves.
To your point, so I've talked about it on the show numerous times before. I was abused as a child by both men and women, and one of the things that was the hardest thing to come to terms with was the fact that I always felt like it was my fault until I was older. And it wasn't until somebody said to me, like, you could not be at fault at all because you did not know. And it wasn't until somebody gave me that affirmation, because I think back to, there was this false reality of, I have to do this. I have to be quiet. I have to not speak on these things because I was the one in the wrong. And I think would you constitute? And once again, like I said, sometimes I'm learning new things all the time. Would that constitute gaslighting? Because that's like that false reality that predators would give to somebody to sexually harass them to make them feel like, oh, I have to allow this to happen, otherwise I might hurt their feelings, or I had to let that happen because they are in a position of power.
Listen, I had an abusive mother, and the person who abused me was her younger sister. And she was like, if your mother were to find out, she would be mad at you. Not me, not us, not nothing. She'll be mad at you. And she knew that I was being abused, so I had a fear of my mother. So that immediately worked. And that's a foothold, because every single time I'm overriding what I know is wrong. I'm overriding what I know is uncomfortable, unsafe for me. I'm overriding that because of a fear, and that was exploited. So absolutely.
And that's a tool they often use to victimize people. Or, hey, if you say anything, this will rip the family apart. We'll have to live in different households.
Like, you have to put that pressure on a fucking
bruh, that is so real. That's because I'm sorry, I'm having an aha moment, because like people who I confided in was like, yeah, but you know, when the family come together, you're gonna mess things up and make things weird. And I'm like, fuck that. Yeah, the thing in my ass. Like that, I'm not happy about that. Well, I have to joke about these things because this is just how I learned how to cope with them. But it never translated to me how somebody else's feelings superseded how I felt internally in the moment when I was the one wrong. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And we don't get to that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, for the sake of talking about cons too, you have to think about it. Like, we brought in the show talking about how cons is a place where we all go to, express our love and gratitude towards characters, franchises, whatever it may be. And most of us grew up in spaces where we weren't allowed to fully express that, whether it was in the house, or your family, your neighborhood friends, high school, school period, whatever. But that was our safe space where we can all go and celebrate our favorite whatevers, right? You also still realize that there's going to be a bunch of people too that even in that space, they still don't feel accepted. And so to go to Kurt's point, you're going to have people that's going to look at the environment and say, well, if I'm going to be accepted here, I got to do these things.
Right.
Or if I'm going to be part of this group, this Dragon Ball group, then I got to do these things. Or like, if I'm going to, cosplay in this universe, I got to, dress this way. Maybe I'm not used to being this way or expressing myself in this way, but I got to do it because this is what they said I got to do. And there is a lot of pressure coming from people up. And you talk about these fake hierarchies where people were just like, yeah, if you're going to hang with us, you got to do this. You have to perpetrate this.
Say that with your... I'm sorry. I get hype about that. I'm like, who made these fake ass factions that you got to listen to these weirdos? Like, yo, these are not your friends. No, I'm tired of these cosplay groups. I'm tired of these little nerd groups. Even some of you podcasters out there, you get your little 5 minutes of fame, and you think that you are now the man. So now that you try to finesse every woman that you run into to use your little clouded fame. I'm sorry, that was triggering. Now, but I'm with you. I'm with you because the fake faction shit. That I'm a part of this group, so I have to do these things. Let me tell you something. If that group wants to fuck each other till the cows come home, and that's what they do. No, seriously, that's what they do. You don't have to engage in that if you don't want to. You can still cosplay and go home.
Yes,
exactly. Still her sexual harassment. So pressure that you have to do this and to be a part of this group.
That's what I want to get into next with. A predator is and what sexual harassment is. So let's.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah. So I just had one.
Can I say something?
I'm gonna let you guys go and then we. Because we're talking about all of the things at once, but I want to break it down so that people don't get confused.
Go ahead, Q.
But I want to speak on the last comment that Kurt put on the screen. I think it was Jamila Wilson. She was talking about how she has turned the script. So she tells her daughter, can't nobody hurt me. You tell me everything. That's what I do in my life. Because think about when we were kids. Nobody came to you with that. So you could be on alert, basically. Like, I know this is a thing in life. I pray that it never touches you. But it's a possibility it may. That's sad. So I'm here to inform you. Nobody can do shit to me. I'm not going to stop loving you because what somebody else did to you, but you have to tell me so that I can protect you.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are teaching our children this, by the time they get, and that's why I say a lot of this culture is, it's really not nerd culture. It's the culture that you were brought up in, and it just takes, it disperses in whatever culture you find yourself in. So nerd culture, podcast culture, celebrity culture.
Life.
If you were taught to either take these things or put these kind of attacks on other individuals, that's just who you are. It's just the space that it exploded in. So you gotta be teaching people early how to just be basic fucking human beings, just, you know, common decency.
Yeah.
So then when you get to the cons, you are aware. My mama been telling me this shit since I was 5. No, nigga, you can't touch me. So at a point, you just got, you always got,
especially in my no parts.
Yeah. So whether it's boys or girls, you have to tell people they cannot touch you. I will fuck them up. They not gonna do nothing.
That right there. That right there. Because that's one of the, exactly what you said is exactly what I told all 3 of my kids. Yeah. Somebody fuck with you, you let daddy know, and daddy will take care of it. Exactly. If the teachers have a problem with it, tell them to call dad, and I will handle them. They get to talk. They get to talk to this Marine and this dude from Brooklyn and figure out what the fuck I'm going to allow and not allow.
Period.
And then when I'm done with the asses, they're going to realize they were fucked up and they were wrong for trying to tell you to do something that I don't allow.
On God.
And I think the point there is that you still love them. You're still accepting them. What happens to change who they are, and that there's still that acceptance. We have. I talked to a client who this guy went around her mosque molesting the girls in there, and the girls were all afraid to say anything because they felt they were damaged. And so this guy just went around being a predator in their mosque because he knew he'd get away with it. They weren't going to say, because they thought if they said something, they were going to be I don't want to say like dirty or
right.
Ostracized.
But a lot of our kids feel that way. A lot of us felt that way. If we let this secret be known, they're going to look at me a different way, and somehow I'm going to be changed. Somehow I'm not going to be as clean or anything like that. And a lot of us have experienced that. So let them know. And even if you decided to do something, but then it went too far, you can still come to me. A lot of us are telling our kids that you can still, no matter what decision you make, I am always going to love you. I might not agree with the decision. You might have to deal with some consequences, but I am always going to love you. Nothing's going to change that. And I think a lot of us weren't given that message.
That's real shit. All right, Nate, you said you wanted to change. I'm sorry.
Well, before Teffy, did you say what you wanted to say?
I had not.
Go ahead.
Oh, so I was gonna say, like, gaslighting also kind of works like, well, for me, it was never like, oh, you can't tell anybody because that'll break up the family or whatever. My mama is 5'11", dark skin, and she got kind of a deep voice. Most strangers were afraid to get on my mom's bad side, but it was kind of like what Ann said, where it was like, oh, I don't want people to think poorly of me, like, as a person. So, like, if it got out, it'd be like, oh, well, she's kind of like that. Or it would be like, oh, well, don't you like this? Don't you feel good, like, when this happens to you? Like, and it'd be like, well, maybe, but I feel so uncomfortable. Like, all I know is that I'm uncomfortable right now, and I don't really know how to, like, break down this feeling.
You shouldn't have to qualify it.
You shouldn't have to, right?
And if I was like, the fact that I had to, like, think about it and take pause was, like, telling enough. But for men to be like, no, this is happening because you're special. Because I chose you because you are so pretty and you are so this, and this is going to be so good for you. And I just like it makes my skin crawl to think about it. So it's like, it's not always like, oh, well, it's such a bad thing. Sometimes it's like, I guess kind of like that grooming where it's like, you're so special, you're so pretty.
And that is something that comes up in this community a lot as far as grooming.
I'm doing this to you because you have something that's so unique that I can't get from other people. And it's like, you want to feel special. You want to feel like you belong. Hell, you want to feel like the baddest bitch on the block. But if you got to go through like uncomfortableness to get it, like, that's not worth it. And like, that's not something I feel like people talk about enough. Like, feeling like chose, like, ugh, like, if you bitch, I don't want you to choose me.
Well, that's the thing in this community where people get. So I feel personally that people in this community are usually the other in school, as in like they're the outcast, they don't have a lot of friends, or they're homeschooled and stuff like that. So when they get into like either when they get into these type of environments, they don't know how to conduct themselves because they haven't really been around people like that, or simply because they were the outcasts in school. Now they might be attractive, and that's fine. They might be attractive, or they might have some kind of fame, and they don't know what to do with it. And, you know, like, I think Ant was saying the other day that, you know, people saw pictures with him and somebody, and they're like, oh, you know that person? Like, I'm still a person at the end of the day. Even if I was a celebrity, I can't do anything for you. I can't put you in a better place if I don't want to. Like, you don't owe me anything. You don't owe me your ass, your titties, your pussy. You don't. But people do that. Like, it's just like that Boondocks episode where it was like, you know, where the girl was in court for R. Kelly, and she's like, yeah, I mean, I got out the way, you know, but it's R. Kelly. Like, no, these things are not okay. Like, I don't care who the fuck you are. And another thing is, people feel this entitlement. Like, I don't give a damn if you say I'm cute. I don't care if I say I got a crush on you or whatever. That does not give you direct access to me. Like, I can't tell you I have a lot of people on Instagram that I talk to. I post stuff in my stories. It's funny. We have a conversation. That's all fine and well. But I had somebody one day, they sent me a message like, hey, friend, we don't talk anymore like that. And I went to that page and I'm scrolling. I'm like, we didn't talk like that before. But it's like, and I wasn't being rude, but like, that's the thing. Like, just because we're like, my mom used to tell me all the time, just because y'all are classmates, y'all are not friends. Just because you work with these people, these are your associates. They are not your friends. Just because you follow me on Instagram or Facebook does not make you my friend in real life. Like, I had to explain to somebody that I unfriended because I didn't like what I was seeing. I didn't like their views and their point of view. So I unfollowed them. I didn't make a big stink about it. I unfollowed them. I went on my life. And they sent me a message like, why did you unfollow me? I don't owe you an explanation. I don't owe you closure. People have to stop feeling entitled that people owe you something, because they do not. Just like with consent. If I say today we can have sex and I'm not feeling it, the dick was whack, I don't want to do it anymore. That does not give you access to continue to press me about the issue. If I said no, I said no. That's it.
Yeah, whack dick could do that. This is keeping it a buck.
I don't know.
So now you wanted to get into a different topic that's a little bit more specific. What was that again?
Before I do get on that topic, I want to, because there was something going on in the comments. So I don't want anybody to answer but Anthony. Because this is a great example, like I said, in nerd culture. People idolize the Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship. People don't understand that, you know, she had mental issues as well, that she was being abused, that he brainwashed her. It was so many things that take to that. People are like, okay, well, let's not look at that. They really loved each other though. Like, it might have been time, because people really think that way mentally. Like I remember watching something with Ike and Tina, but it wasn't Ike and Tina. It was like Ike's new wife. She was like, yeah, he beats me because he loves me that much. Like, people are brainwashed to believe that's how they love, but that might be how they love, but you don't have to accept that. So can you break down that type of relationship and terminology as far as why that is an inappropriate relationship to idolize?
So first, a lot of our past traumas inform our current behaviors, right? So how we're taught to love as kids and how we witness as kids and what we might feel we're lacking as we develop can inform what we're looking for later on in life. So it could be validation. It could be, if any, I want to look at anything, you can look up attachment theory. There's a lot of videos on YouTube with kids about how they relate to their parents. But then you're going to these looking for validation. So we think somewhere in our brains, it could be like, if they don't kirk out on me, if they're not acting jealous, they don't love me. If ever somebody who gets into a healthy relationship and they say they can't stay in a healthy relationship, that they're too nice or too soft or too giving or something like that, because they're used to a toxic relationship. They learned on the extreme. So you have people that most of the times when they were growing up, either their emotional reinforcement was at 0 or at 12. There was no balance. There were no balanced relationships in their life. There were no balanced relationships that they saw growing up. So if it wasn't that extreme, oh, he saw me talking to somebody else, so he whipped my ass. So that's how I know he loves me, because he values me so much that he would hurt me or he'd rather kill me to see me with somebody else. And that's not love. That's not a healthy relationship. But we're not showing people healthy relationships, right? We don't even really hold up healthy relationships in media, which most of us are learning relationships from outside of what's in our household, right?
And because they boring. That's bro. It's not in drama and dysfunction. I'm sorry, Aunt.
No. But no, you're saying a better way than I am. We equate the excitement, drama to love and the relationship we want, not healthy communication, no drama, not being able just to, hey, no, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm gonna walk away, and it's okay. No, we have to do the most of following you, stalking you, going into your phone, doing all these other things that validate you as a person, your agency, and we related that to love. Especially when we are so afraid of losing something. We're so afraid of losing, or that if we lose this person, we will never be loved again. A lot of us are not secure in the fact that we are deserving of love, and that love will come to us and accept us outside of the relationship we are in now. So we cling to it, and we put quarters in our slot machine, and we're like, oh, we got $10 back. I spent $80, but I got $10 back, so I keep pulling it. I'll eventually get this right.
Slot machine love. I like that. Yeah. That's a great.
And stop my ass, and he'll love my kids, and he'll let me have my phone and let me go out with my girlfriends, let me see my mom and my dad again, and all because we either grew up not thinking we were deserving of love, or we had somebody convince us we weren't deserving of love. And again, somebody mentioned the Boondocks. What was that clip with the she wolf, the martial artist? And it's like,
crazy kung fu wolf bitch. Yeah.
Thought that she wasn't shit, right?
Yeah,
it's just terrible. You're not shit, no one's gonna love you, and you ain't gonna be shit. You ain't gonna. Matter of fact, can I borrow your car and some money? I'm about to go out. Yeah. Right? So we have those.
She almost blew them motherfuckers up, and Grandpa loved it just because she looked good.
So I can't let you go. I can't let you go. No one's gonna love me again.
That's such a good example. The Boondocks just is the gift that keeps on giving. I'm trying to tell
you. You be holding on to shit you don't even want just for the sake of not being alone. Like,
or for the sake of staying with the known and uncomfortable, because even if you know they're toxic, at least you know they're toxic and you know how to deal with that toxicity. Right. The unknown can be even more treacherous than your known, and it could be because of your partner, because your partner will tell you, you gained 10-15 pounds, ain't nobody gonna want you because you got kids and all this shit, and that takes a toll after a while. So if you literally think this is the best I can do, and at least I know he's a liar and a cheater, and I could have like a serial killer, whatever the fuck, that keeps you in that same fucking cycle, because at least you know what to expect.
It's interesting. I always use the Married with Children. It's a 90s television show, super popular with white and black people, but it accentuated a very toxic marriage between Al and Peggy Bundy. But I always thought it was interesting that they were the loved ones, and the joke was making fun of their neighbors who had a really loving, really caring marriage. They would come over and be showing each other love, and the joke was always, oh, look at them, oh, he's a simp, or oh, she's even just degrading his neighbor's wife. He would let it happen because he was afraid not to look macho. And it always really rubbed me the wrong way how in media those examples of love were always skewed in this negative veneer. In marriages like Harriet and Carl Winslow, I'm sorry, I don't want to bring the Huxtable. Not the motherfucker that played the Huxtable.
Yeah, you can bring it up, bro. Because the show itself was great.
Yeah, and those
the man behind it not so great.
Right. And those are the things that we don't really put on the pedestal, because the good examples of what a loving marriage looks like doesn't get promoted the same way or to the same degree. That's why Love and Hip Hop and Love and Skippity Bop and all that old bullshit, every time there's a new reality show full of dysfunction. And this is what we've trained ourselves to believe is real love or real relationships. That's why we still think Harley and Joker was a great relationship when obviously that shit's toxic as hell. Honestly, I liked her better when she got with Ivy because at least somebody loved her for her. And I'm just saying that's just from a comic book perspective. And there's plenty of other relationships that we can use in pop culture that shows us how love could be and how love shouldn't be. And it's wise to kind of differentiate between the two.
Edward and Bella was toxic.
So, and I want you to explain to us what sexual harassment is and what a sexual predator is.
So, sexual harassment, textbook definition would be any unwanted sexual advancements, whether that's physical or verbal, sexual favors or requesting sexual favors unrequested, or even demands for sexual favors to avoid consequences of not meeting those demands. So all that could be termed sexual harassment. So it could be you come spend some time with me if you want that promotion, or hey, I'm gonna feel on you, but don't make a noise because I'm bigger in this community than you are, and if you say something, everybody's gonna believe me and not you. Or like so all those things.
Yeah, like my job tried to tell me in the training, quid pro quo. Forever I didn't know what that meant. I was like, oh, okay, I got y'all ass now.
Yeah. So all that would be sexual harassment. And it doesn't mean, hey, I like you, or hey, I want to spend some time with you. No, that's not sexual harassment. That's not sexual harassment. Hey, it hurt me because I'm a big original Star Wars fan, and I never thought about it until we watched that clip recently.
Same.
And it was like, hey, don't touch me. My hands are dirty. My hands are dirty too. And it was like he kept pressing until she kept saying no. And we have generations of media, text, poems.
That's so sweet. She really wanted it though. We know she wanted it.
Right. That right there.
I sound like a rape apologist.
Right.
And when the writers and directors and the actors were doing that, did they think they were promoting this? No, they didn't do anything. But they perpetuated this mindset that we have taken and grown up on and gone all this, and so now we have people that might be socially awkward, and all they see is this, or they might because it worked with somebody else because that person didn't say no. Because I think we're going to get into the response.
You are not Han Solo. It don't work for you, bro.
If you were Han Solo, bitch, I would karate chop you in the neck. Don't fucking
literally.
No, but here's the other aspect to it too. That was made in the 70s. Those movies were made in the 70s.
Yeah.
Where that behavior was more acceptable because motherfuckers weren't as aware or weren't allowed people to be as aware.
They were aware that there weren't any consequences.
Right. Well, that's why I changed it to weren't allowing people to be aware. Because it was always, that's nothing. That's nothing. Today, it's like, nah, nigga, you fucking up. You just said some cross shit to her. You need to correct yourself. You need to check yourself.
And that's another thing that I'm glad you brought that up, because I hear in so many spaces in this community, accusations on my friends or accusations on other people where they're like, well, I heard such and such so-and-so, you know what I mean? Or I heard this or what, and it's just like, nah, like this is my thing. If you're at a party and you see your homegirl and you see her with a guy and you see that she's uncomfortable, why won't you go over there as her homeboy to say, hey, yo, like she uncomfortable. You got to chill. Like, I don't understand you niggas that see stuff. And then like when the victim comes out to say, oh yeah, I felt like this person was being inappropriate with me and yada, yada, yada. And then you come out and be like, yeah, I saw it. Nigga, what the fuck did you do? Besides speak? Like,
but see,
I've seen that so many times. I have heard that, like, yeah, I seen her, she was uncomfortable. Like, or that person doesn't understand social cues. So if you understand that as their friend, why don't you go over there to say, hey, yo, I don't think she's interested? Or call, like, I have been in situations where a female has not known me and they're like, hey, something, and we just having a conversation, and then somebody walks past and they like, this person was harassing me, so I just acted like I knew you. I'm gonna act like I know you. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm gonna just pretend, because if you feel safe, that's fine. But I don't understand that these people that see something, like I said, I was brought up where you see something, you say something. I'm not about to sit there and let my homegirl get pressed or a nigga rub his dick on her hip. And I'm just like, that's wild. Like, no, nigga, what the fuck is you doing?
Now, mind you, there's a balance between both of those spectrums, because that also doesn't mean run over and tackle and start whooping somebody's ass for you ask a question or understand what a situation is. But I'm slapping niggas and asking questions later. But
everybody getting slapped. Everybody in the circle getting slapped. And then I'm be like, what happened?
But
I'll
being
apologize
diligent
later, but fuck out of here. We gotta get you out of this situation.
But being diligent and proactive in a situation is not necessarily having to even confront the person. It's just going over to your friend and saying, hey, I need to talk to you. Can you come over here for a second? And pulling them aside and saying, between you and me, are you comfortable? And then y'all don't ever have to go back and re-engage with that person. Y'all could just literally walk away.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, and Shanae, remember when you remember earlier tonight when you introduced me, what was one of the first things I said?
Oh, as far as just if something happens, just come up to you.
Yeah. You see who I am. You see what I look like. If you see me and you're going through some shit, hey Unc, or hey Pops, because I get called both.
Right.
Hey Unc, hey Pops, what's going on? Can you come over here for a sec? I'd like you to meet.
I had a girl tell me that after BlurCon, her and her friend was leaving and this guy was following them the entire time, and they had to like pretend to make TikTok videos just to make him uncomfortable. Like these are situations that happen, and we don't, like I said, they get swept under the rug, or they don't no, that's aggressive. Like, why would you? I'm not even going to get to people's mentalities or whatever, but I just personally, as a person, I don't think to follow this person, or I'm in like, I want to talk to this person, so I'm going to follow them, and that's okay to follow them. Like that's weird. That ain't weird.
It's very weird.
Go
ahead, Ed.
I was going to say that I would like this conversation to help build a culture where people feel like if I see something, I'm going to confront somebody. I might not even know these guys around me, but they're going to back me up in confronting this person.
Right.
And it might even need a backup, because a lot of times these guys, doesn't matter about size or anything. I know it's another guy invokes his energy, they're probably going to go off. Like they're not going to want that conversation.
Right.
But or even person come and do that when someone speaks up and say they see something. But I would like a culture where it's the norm. Hey, this person says this is happening. Let's all figure out what's going on. Hey, let's talk this out. These are safe spaces, and con should have that. There should be posters up about don't touching people without permission. There should be things about, hey, the security team walks you to your car if you call this number or whatever the thing is. And I think that until we start building that culture and talking about it more, we won't have that safety and security to have those confrontations.
Hey, Kurt, real quick, can you put up that last statement from Steven Jackson? Yeah, that one right there. I like this, but I'd rather change to the children. I'd rather change to the children, because you also have to teach the boys how to not put people in those situations.
Yep.
And how to speak up against it if they do.
And how to speak up against it as well. Right. Because I can tell you like this, my son, who's at Morgan right now, he knows. If he sees something fucked up, he's going to say something. Especially if it's a friend of his. My daughter, they know.
I appreciate what Aaliyah said. Only a select few do anything at all. So obviously, it's a prevalent issue. And that goes to what Ant was talking about. We're trying to build a new environment, a new culture where, okay, so many times people say, oh, it doesn't get talked about enough. Well, then we should not be the only platform having this conversation.
Exactly.
There are so many of us that are podcasters, so many of us that are content creators. You do a TikTok about everything under the sun, you can throw something in to help change the culture and the atmosphere.
Yes.
Because just as recently as a couple days ago, I'm not going to speak directly to about the person or the subject, but there was just a 2-hour live of a very popular cosplayer who had to tell her account and her story about being harassed after a convention. This was we had this plan. Me and Name probably had this plan for about what? About a month?
A month.
Playing this for
maybe
about a month?
2 months.
I think right after we started putting this together, and
we
and
made
just,
this panel Tuesday, and that came out like what, Thursday?
Like it's to the point now where it was like, oh, people might think that we're just doing this because no, this has been a reoccurring issue to a point that it's gotten it's got to be a new culture and a new environment, one in which that does not allow safe places and spaces for predators. Shine a light on all of these motherfuckers. That's the thing about roaches, man. You cut all the lights on.
Predators, Anthony, can you elaborate what a predator is, like what that looks like, so people can identify it? Because, like Najia said, you can't just call somebody a creep or say they're sexual harassing you just because like they ugly. Like, no, it's like.
Can I add something real quick before you get in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
The other thing is too is we're also throwing around genders, and I think that's also setting a precedence that it only is going to look one way. You're saying, well, guys should do this, and then women should do this, and guys are responsible for this, and women are subjective to this, and that's completely
everybody.
False. And one thing that the con community has really been on the forefront about is being gender inclusive, and people of whatever sexuality or however people are identifying themselves. That's one thing that cons hit head on about 3 or 4 years ago, and they made sure across the board that the introduction of pronouns and the fact that there wasn't this two genders. So once you do that, then you have to go back to a technical term here. You got to go back to your SOPs here. You got to start saying, okay, well, things aren't just black and white now. Things aren't just male female. These things, these policies, these standards, whatever it may be, can go across the board for anybody. So when these conversations are being had, people need to understand that guys aren't solely the ones who can be predators out here, because people think that, and it sounds ignorant because we get it, but then there's going to be people that think like, well, only guys can do that. Or there's most people that know there's a whole ass video of a female cosplayer harassing men and female, and she does not get consent from anybody. She just goes up to people, touch their ass, tickle them or whatever. Like, because I'm gonna tell you personally, first of all, I don't like to be tickled. You come up to me and you tickle me, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth. So, but then when you get to that point, you're the aggressor. When you didn't, why are you putting your hands on me and I don't know you? But like I said, that's a woman thing. Like, I've had people know I'm bisexual. That's all fine and dandy. But unless I let you know, like, these type of behaviors are okay. I've had people, I get penis all the time, all in my inbox. It's not fine, but people do it. But I have gotten women where they're like pressing me, like, listen, like I will do whatever. Like, I'm not even gay, but like I will pay you or I will do this. And I'm like, nah, like I'm good. And they'll just keep running down the line, like sending news. Like, that's not okay. If I said no, I'm good. Like, it's not going to change my mind. My no is my no, and no is a complete sentence. That's the end of it. Like I said, we have people on this panel where Kurt was getting hit on, like pressed on, like a guy was telling him he wanted to make Kurt a sandwich, like not make him a sandwich, make him into a sandwich. Now, after
like
he had already told him no,
and I like a good sandwich, but Kurt don't want to be the meat. Like Kurt didn't want to be the meat between two buns. That's all. I was cool on that, and I'm with Nay in the fact that the coaxing is always the interesting thing about it. Yeah, and it goes back to what we already talked about. It's kind of how the thread woven throughout this entire thing. The gaslighting goes into building a false reality where you're okay with it, or you should be okay with it. Or you're
coercing somebody into it. Because somebody said to me the other day, if it's not an enthusiastic yes, I don't want it. Like, I'm not going to keep coaxing somebody into it. You want a beer?
Hold on. Wait, before you finish, I want to throw this at you. Why that caveat? Not just a yes, but why an enthusiastic yes? I kind of know the answer, but I want you to. I'm throwing you an alley-oop.
For me, I got something too. Because I would think that they want it. Like, enthusiastic is like, yeah, like, let's take the drawers off right now type thing. Whereas to somebody's like, yeah. Like, I guess, like, that's more like a maybe. Like,
turkey huggy.
I gotta work you up to this. You know what I mean? I gotta do some work to get. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Well, I threw that question because, and I'm gonna go. I'm sorry, not dear. I'm not to take.
Nah,
your
you're
point,
good. Nah, you're good.
Because it's interesting. I was talking to Love about this, and I was like, and this is why it can't just be about a no. You don't need to do nothing if you get a maybe. Because see, the problem because maybe is not definitive enough for me. And the problem is people give out maybes all the time, but that doesn't mean you take that as a yes. Because that's why I want an enthusiastic yes. I drew up
listen, when you come
non-disclosure
over and
forms
I turn my back and I turn back around, you already naked. That's how I know that you was into this. Okay,
Listen.
I didn't ask nothing. We already consented on the way, and you already ready. Cool. Like I had to work for it or nothing.
And just as an example of somebody grabbing and taking a yes when it's supposed to mean no. I'm gonna use this example that Nate told me to use, and I'm trying not to laugh because it's not funny because we're having a serious conversation. But
Look at this nigga's face.
If you know that episode,
I've never seen that before.
What show is that?
I saw that go viral like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it really went viral. And it went viral because it was Drake. But look, and like, what the fuck? but that's what
that music video. Yeah, my bad.
This is somebody where I talk about body language and facial cues. That's kind of just because you think it's okay and you act on what you think is okay, people will telegraph what their real feelings are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, because some people are not going to swing on you on go. Go ahead, Teff.
Oh, I wanted to reply to Steven Jackson's comment. I'm one of those people where people tell me I'm loud even when my mouth is shut. And by that I mean like my face is
your facial
expressive. So like the first thing I'm always like, like it give me away 10 times out of 10. I'm a really bad poker player because of this. But like people will see that you're uncomfortable, see that I'm just like, you need to get the fuck out of my face, and still stand there. And they think that because I'm on a web show, because I pole dance, because I'm walking around with my titties out, that they are entitled to my time, that I'm willing to give my time because I present myself a certain way online. And short of having to sock a nigga in the mouth, I will just be like, hey, yo, I see my friend, I'm gonna go. I will talk to you later. Maybe I'm gonna go by.
Like at the end of the day, it don't matter what I talk about.
No, because genuinely, I've had women. I've had women literally think they can come up and put their hands on me, touch me, grab me, and sex. Because if you see me on a show and my persona, please understand, Kurt the person and King Kurt Live are not the same individual. I don't know if y'all know this, but it's like wrestling.
That's how I am.
Yeah. Please don't think that the person that I portray and the person who I am, this is Kurt talking right here. We having a serious discussion and you'll get a joke or two out of me. But unfortunately, too many people see cosplayers in these. And honestly, it's only sexualized in your mind if you make it sexual.
That part.
Right. You get what I mean? And because I don't want to put any onus on the cosplay. Look, I don't give a damn if she cosplays butt naked. I'm pretty sure a lot of these characters been butt naked before. But the difference is how you act on it.
It's cosplaying my birthday suit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm cosplaying Au Natural. But the thing is, it doesn't matter the pictures she posts. It doesn't matter the videos that she posts. It doesn't matter the content. Even if they have sexual conversations, that doesn't give people the right to have that same interaction with you.
Prostitutes got real lives. Prostitutes got kids at home. They not just fucking all day.
Sex workers.
No, that part. Oh, because I've heard plenty of time. Well, she got her OnlyFans. So what? You not the only fan.
Are
that
you
don't
paying
mean
now? Because that's right. It's a service rendered.
Listen, do y'all know how disappointed people are when individuals with OnlyFans, whether they're men or women or other, come out and say I have a relationship with another individual, or be like, yeah, I got a boyfriend, or yeah, I'm married, and what they're like, they feel like they're offended. Like, wait a minute, you sold me this image, and now I want to engage in it, and then you got to be like, well, oh well, unsubscribe.
I posted a throwback picture, family pictures of me, my son, and my son's dad, and somebody was like, and it's an old picture. My son's dad and I are not together. But somebody had the nerve to be like, oh, well, how could you put yourself out there? You in a relationship, you somebody's mom, and this, that, and the other. And I was like, first of all, somebody's mom, and I put my pussy out there. Right. But I'll tell you, like I told my mother, I'm not afraid to show the doctor my pussy. I was like, showing a man my pussy is how I got in this position in the first place. So I'm just gonna let it be what it is. But having said that, none of that is your fucking business. It's not. I don't know you. I don't fucking know you. Like, I don't know you. I don't owe you. I don't owe you a kindness or anything like that to even tell you about my life or to be anything like that. And I was like, and if I am in a relationship, how am I? I'm sorry. Like, even if I was in a relationship, that nigga don't run me. He don't run this Instagram. This is my Instagram. I'm gonna put on this Instagram what the fuck I want to put on this Instagram. My mama and my daddy follow me, and they be the fuck surprised some days. But that Instagram still say TeffyWonder on it. Okay. Listen, I had my whole ass out because I did like a photo shoot last Christmas after I got my colostomy closed. I wanted to feel sexy and good about myself, and my mom was like, that's borderline pornographic, and I was like, sorry about it.
Just keep scrolling, Mom. Just keep on scrolling.
I'm like, put on my Instagram what I put on my Instagram. I don't owe you anything. You are like, Nick, sorry, what bills did you pay? I got a people bill sitting on the dresser if you really feel worried about it.
But see, real quick, caveat to that too.
Well, wait a minute, hold on, because we never went back to Nigeria. We never went back to Nigeria. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
And he was waiting patiently.
I just wait my time. So I can't even remember what I was going to say, but I do know what I was going to say after some of the comments that was being made. It's really odd to me, and I don't know who's one of you all said this, but it's really odd to me that if you notice about the popularity of cons, you notice that anime cons tend to be one of the ones that a lot of people target, and like that's cool. There's a lot of anime in the world, but I don't think there's more anime than pop culture. And you ever wonder why like there's such a huge divide as to what cons people go to and whatnot? I mean, to me, I started questioning this a while ago. I was like, damn, some people are more like they're more excited to go to a CasaCon over like a San Diego, which is like the biggest con, or New York, which is one of the top 3. And I just kept wondering, like, what is it about that? And then I started to realize that there's a lot of people that understand that in the anime or Asian community, as they want to say, that there's a certain perception of things that is allowed and things that you can get away with and things that you can perpetrate.
So you're saying like rape culture?
I mean,
I say it, doggone
it. To me, and I'll just say this flat out. It's just like I feel like a lot of people glorify cons, and for all the wrong reasons. People rate their solo experiences, whether it's good or bad or ethical, and this targets people to want to attend these cons. Although a lot of us can sit here and say, like, I've heard this happen at that place, I heard this happen at that place. And then it's to the point where people start to say that, well, it seems to be the acceptable culture here. And then people, again, got the mentality that once it's over, then you reset, you do it again, you come back, you do it again, you do it again. So to tighten this up into a bow, is just that I think now in this conversation about what's allowed, what's not allowed, and et cetera, that nothing should be off the table.
Yeah.
Gender bias, con bias, statue bias, popularity bias, whatever it may be, everything needs to be put into perspective of the flat out, straight up yes and no aspect of everything, right and wrong. And I think that that will start to help really identify a lot of the things at core before it starts to get, to other levels of things where you start doing, hierarchies of like, well, that person's popular, so they're allowed to do that, or that person, I'm a woman, that person is a woman, so they can do that, and I that's just kind of what I was thinking with some of the comments that was being said.
Right. I'm gonna piggyback off what you said and then go back to what Teffy said last. What Najee was just saying, basically, and this came up in my household because a friend of my wife's was basically like, people go to Dragon Con to fuck.
Yeah.
And I go to Dragon Con religiously, and I go to between 12 and 15 cons a year on the average.
Would you say where the tickets sold?
And this was something that came back to me. I'm like, yo, I don't go to Dragon Con to fuck. I'm married to your ass, so why am I going to go to Dragon Con to fuck?
Bingo.
So don't bring that shit back to me. But that's what people think about.
Yeah, you're dead
and that's why when these like for these other cons, when people prior to the cons, about a month, maybe 2 months prior to the cons, they start creating these groups where, they start setting up their little liaisons and shit, and then they don't happen the way the way they're supposed to happen, or even if they do happen, they're like, okay, well, yeah, this is why I'm going to that con. I'm not going to the con to have fun and to cosplay and to doggone maybe drink a little bit, maybe smoke a little bit, or whatever your fancy may be. I'm going to fuck.
Yeah.
And that's what we think about.
I think that's interesting because Aaliyah just said that these perceptions are going to get people fucked up because a lot of people, some of y'all equate these cons to hedonism. This ain't Jamaica. No, seriously. Listen,
you're right.
I agree with both my brothers. I've had flat out had my they was fucking at this one. Kurt, you gotta go to this con. This is the con to go to. And I bought 37 tickets, but that's beside the purpose. I'm just saying it still wasn't right to have the perception.
Yeah, exactly.
It was right, but see, I joke, but I'm saying it's the mentality that's perpetuated.
Right.
I can process it because
you're entitled to get some because everybody fucking.
I'm a grown ass adult that understands, but if somebody comes in sexually charged, already thinking, oh, it's on like that. Guess what, bro? You might not be wrong in that mentality, but you better know how to properly ask for consent for all things.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So go ahead, because I'm about to say, I will get wild.
Okay. Right. Now I'm going to get to the second piece that Teffy was talking about, where about people, paying bills. Even if they are paying your bills, that still don't give them access to you.
Yeah,
they can step the fuck back.
Let me speak on that. Can I speak on that? Because
go ahead.
people don't, at all aspects of your life, from when you start dating at whatever 14, 16 till you married. I'm married. I still have to ask consent. He still got to ask consent. It's not written in stone that we signed the papers together. Like whenever I say drop your drawers, you know what time it is. Like no, you're your own person. Consent is everlasting.
Amen.
One other thing I want to go about. Now I remember what I initially was going to say. We're all adults here, like full-blown adults, jobs, families, all that good stuff. Also, as we said, these places are family friendly. There are kids there. Now, I'm not going to expose my age because that's not important, but I did grow up in an era where in school we had school dances, because I don't know if that's still a thing. But school dances was like our, oh my God, we get to be around, our classmates, mildly unsupervised, and whatever it is. And this is, this is
how he used the proper term, mildly unsupervised.
I mean, but you know the vibes. Like this was the day when you were going to plot on the girl you wanted, and vice versa. You wanted to get that dance or the kiss, whatever it may be. And that was like, But like, it was still supervised.
Grinding the buttons off your jeans.
We just thought we were little hoodlums. We thought we can do things. Now, to me, when you think about these family-friendly cons, you got people 18. I mean, we'll just say, all ages, but like we'll say 16 and up. And they go to cons, and this is like a Halloween party, a school dance, a field trip vacation, all in one, unsupervised. And you don't think that they're gonna go with this supercharged mentality of the endless possibilities of things they could get themselves into that their parents would have never ever allowed. And if we, as the elders, are in these spaces and not setting examples, what the hell you think they're about to do? Oh, they're doing it too. We doing it too.
But that's why I think like having consent is so important, because you can go to some of these cons and there is scattered ass everywhere. Just because I said no does not mean you won't get no pussy. Please go find some pussy that wants you. Damn.
No, genuinely,
make sure you get consent on that pussy before you touch it.
Well, I think before you even get to the convention, I think the problem is that this just a lot of people. I'm just gonna say this: if you wasn't getting no ass in real life, it ain't gonna magically change when you get to these cons. I can promise you that. I'm just keeping it a buck. And you laugh. I'm dead at because they think, oh, I'm in the concept.
You say that before every.
Yo, don't I say the same shit? Because here's my thing, and I'm gonna put it in nerd terms for y'all. When they do the Tournament of Champions, Yamcha is still weak. He was weak before he got in it. He was weak the minute he was fighting in it, and you knew he was gonna get his ass whooped before he even showed the fuck up. But he showed up to the tournament thinking he had a chance. He didn't. He didn't. You are Yamcha. Okay? When you show up to these cons, until you get your power level up and become the person you want to be in your mind in real life. That means actually do the work. That means become a decent fucking human being. Learn from streams like this about what consent is and how to respect women. And you know what? I think this is a great opportunity. I'm sorry, now I'm not going to hijack shit, but I think this is a good time about self-reflection, because guess what? Cis hetero men such as myself need to be involved in these conversations to show that you can still be a man's man and macho and do all that shit and say, you know what? I still respect the women, whether I'm fucking them, not fucking them, whether I'm attracted to them, not attracted to them, whether they my cis or not my cis. And this is a great example of that from 1989's A Different World. Man. Much love to my cis lovely who put this in the chat, and I think this is a great conversation between two grown ass men having a real ass conversation.
This
and
is
learning. Go ahead,
1989, and 1989. It still hits. Like, this needs to be prevalent throughout our whole culture, and you'll see why.
I was just thinking about guys, you know, how we treat women. When you were my age, you did a little hoochie. Did a little coochie too? Sorry, did your daddy have this talk with you? Oh, Walter, just try to imagine back then. You and your girl have the house to yourselves. You're in the den, on the couch. Lights are low. Jeffrey Osborne is telling you that you're going all the way. I've been there. All of a sudden, things are getting heavy. She calls for timeout. I've been there too. Now, you know that her mouth is saying no, but you're sure that the parts of her saying yes, not to mention the parts of you. What part do you listen to? Her mouth. And then you go outside, take a swim in an unheated pool. So it's not my job to get her off the hook or to help her give it up. Man, if you think that's your job, your next job will be pressing license plates. No, Walter, this isn't some wacko in the bushes with a raincoat. This is you and your honey. Man, I don't care, man. If the woman says no and you don't listen to her, it's rape. Plain and simple, case closed, 10 to 20. Oh, man. Now it's my turn to ask questions. Why are we talking about this? Well, it's just that, you know, guys need to talk about this stuff too.
That part. That
ding,
part
ding,
right
ding, fucking ding.
I tell you, man, we used to get a lot of good tidbits back in the day without it being like a 10-episode series. You got like just gems dropped in the middle of 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Bruh, that was one of the things that I said to Love. I said, damn, they just surmised it in 90 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. Not to take away from that, what's the Netflix show with the one chick? No, the one chick where she was they had the tapes on her and she committed suicide.
13
Reasons Why. 13 Reasons Why. I mean, it's a good show, but it took 10 episodes in order for them to relay that message. And I was just like, powerful. But we were getting this. One episode back in the day, 30 minutes.
They used to walk into the writer's room and be like, sexual harassment. All right, I got you. 30 minutes. Hey, we write this.
Yep. Impactful, funny. It'll be all in there. Got you.
And to me, look how they will. And this is one of the reasons why I tell jokes, even when we have these silent, because you need to be entertained mildly while you're being informed. And that's why you get dope videos like Consent is Like Tea, because it's funny. You'll remember it because it entertained you. So however you need to do your own personal self-reflection, because trust me, I was born in 1982. When I say I had some toxic ass male behaviors, I grew up during the age of gangster rap, disrespecting women. Look, bitches ain't shit, but hoes and tricks was literally my mantra through middle school. That's why nobody liked me. When I tell you the heroes and the people who we looked up to, things that we learned, behaviors that we exhibited, all those things sometimes have to be deprogrammed, because 2021 is a new era.
And so what you're talking about right there is really important about the reprogram. Most of our core programming is done before we're 9 years old. Most of our core programming, just like programming in real life, you have to go back and find that line of code, erase it, and put new code in there. And that takes, maybe let's wake up in the mirror and saying, hey, I'm going to do this different today. I'm going to do this different today. And it might take you 3 years to take some programming out that took 10 minutes to get to be embedded in you. What's other important in that clip to me was that Dwayne Wade wasn't treated like a monster for asking the question and being confused. And combating what I'm sure was him being pressured to not stop. Because I think what happened was he stopped at some point and somebody was like, "Why'd you stop?" or something like that. It was probably Ron or something.
Yep, exactly.
And him going from society, peer, all this other pressure of this is what a man's supposed to do, versus what he knew didn't really feel right, and having a question to a mentor he trusted to give him a real answer. Is he a monster for having conflicting thoughts? No. Should he be canceled for having conflicting thoughts? No. He went, got answered, did the work to make himself a better person and get clarity and understanding as a young man. And I think that's really important. I wanted to go to the sexual predator thing real quick because I only got like 20 more minutes before I have to leave y'all. So
well, that's all right, because we about to end it, because we at the 2 hour mark anyway. God, I didn't realize how good the conversation got.
If you can explain what a sexual predator is, and then the whole fight, freeze, appease type thing.
Gotcha. So a sexual predator is a person who habitually seeks out sexual situations that we would deem exploitive, right? So let's say I buy women tickets to come out to Hawaii or something like that. I'm like, oh, you're a friend or anything, but once I get you here, I'm holding your ticket. I'm holding your return thing. I'm holding wherever you're going to stay at or whatever. I know I have a socioeconomic advantage over you, so you might not be able to afford to even get back without my blessing or my leverage. Or it could be I pay your bills, or it could be anything like that. So anything that we would deem in society as exploitive, right? And that's somebody who habitually does it. That's the difference between an offender who might, I don't like to use the word make mistake, but offend, like sexually offend, versus someone who does this habitually. This is how, and they get off on power, they get off on a whole bunch of different things to go into it. Like there's 7 different types of stalkers. So the other thing is, when we talk about assertive communication, this is really important. And we talk about fight and flight most of the time, right? But we don't talk about fight, flight, and appease. We don't talk about those instincts that tell us the safest thing to do in a situation is freeze, right? It was freeze up, not move, not breathe. And we can have agency, we can value ourselves, we can say we're going to do this, I'll punch somebody in the nose and everything like that. But when we get into a situation when we don't know if our safety is secure, we don't know if we're going to get out of it, we can have nothing to do with what we do. I think someone said they were in the Marines at one point. It takes a lot of training to be able to go into firefights, right? It takes a lot of training to get past that instinct that says, I'm going to, anybody here box or any kind of martial arts? When you start learning how to fight and you start getting in situations where you're sparring, a lot of times you hold your breath, right? You grow up knowing I'm gonna hold my breath because I'm in a tense situation, versus learning how to breathe evenly. I think that takes training and practice. That's something that a lot of us can't do. There could be people that want to act. There could be people I want to run away, but something in our brains clicks in and we can't. And if we're very afraid that we're not going to get out of the situation, we might do everything to calm that attacker down. We might calm that harasser down so that I can go home, so that they won't hurt me. They won't mess up my social standing in this group that I spent so much time building myself up in. And I think we need, as when you hear people say, well, why did they just say no? Why didn't they just run away? Why didn't they attack or fight back? It's not always a conscious thing. It takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of training to overcome those things. And some people can do it, some people can't do it, but it takes a lot of training to say we're going to do this every time.
Agree.
And you see this in animals. You ever see a bird or a cat or a mouse, something that there's a larger predator or a larger animal, and they'll just lie down and they just won't move until that thing looks away, and they get up and run or they fly or whatever. We're no different.
Ooh, now that's heavy to me, because then that's, you know how some people say, well, it's their fault. Why did they allow it? Or, oh, you know, they were hanging out with them and they were cool with them. I saw them. They was hugging and kissing. And he must be lying, or she must be lying, because why are they now saying that they were uncomfortable? Well, it goes to what he was. Yeah, well, you know that I do. Yeah, that boom, like, motherfuckers.
All throughout, especially as women, we are literally raised to please the man for a myriad of reasons. It could be for our safety and protection. It could be because the one part of success that they care about is if we have a man and we get married or not. But like, especially in the church, because I was raised like Southern Baptist child. So my whole existence was please the man. The man is the head of the household. The man is this, the man is that. That doesn't just translate into church. That translates into, okay, like my father taught me the same thing. That then will translate into how I view men in general. So if a man is telling me that he wants this or that, even if I'm uncomfortable, this could be, okay, I'll make him unhappy. And to some, that's just as not desirable as he's going to harm me. But he could either harm me or he could tell me no and he won't want me anymore. And those three things to a person with no power, or who acts like or has been taught that they have no power, is just as debilitating as if you were to hold me down and tell me no, that I can't do anything.
Pressure is still harassment. Pressure to do something is still harassment. That's why I love what you guys are saying about enthusiastic yes, right? That is so important. Why don't we up that culture? Oh man, yeah. Oh man, you got with so and so. Oh, did she say yes, yes? Did she like write you poems? Did she like? Da, da, da?
I like poetry. That's how I know.
Why don't we up that type of thing where I want her to want me. I want him to want me. I want this person, because the calculations that you were doing with that gentleman, Kurt, that you were talking about, where women do those calculations all the time. Am I going to get out of here alive? Am I gonna, is he going to say these things about me? There was a part, Euphoria. There was an episode where she talked about like she had given head to 3 guys, and one of them was because he said, if you don't give me head, I'm just going to tell the rest of the school that I hit. And so that's pressure. That is still.
Here's the interesting thing to that, and this is the caveat that I had to explain to them that I never realized. To your point about pressure, I was so afraid to tell this person no, because not that I was, you know, it was the fact that I was afraid of them saying, "Oh, Kurt's homophobic," and in this, and right now in this culture, just to make that accusation of me could be detrimental to my brand or misrepresent who I am as a person. And it was crazy to me, because I was like, yo, I actually had a fear, a tangible fear in the pit of my stomach that I had to go. And I knew instantly, I said, I have to go to my sisters about this, because damn, this must be how they feel. They must be, it's crazy that was my aha moment. 39 fucking years down the line, I've been this age all my life, and that was the first time I can genuinely say I understood what it was like to have I guess for me, an irrational fear, but a real fear.
And that's what happens. Like people, and I don't want anybody to think like you are gonna have this happen to you, but it's like people always like never say never. Like don't say, oh, that can never be me, because it can. Like, and this is why we're having this conversation, so we can identify what these things look like, and how if it walk like a duck, talk like a duck, bitch, it's a duck. Okay, if he put his dick out and put it on your hand, and he being the creep in your inbox, he a predator. Fuck that nigga. Like that's what we have this conversation for. Okay.
When Ant said pressure, that's the first thing I said. Damn, that was that pressure. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and you got to a point when you realize the situation we're in. Now, just imagine if it went beyond that, and how many people actually been through that, because people do that. And you talk about gaslighting, people do that. It's I didn't get what I want. I'm about to flip the whole narrative now.
And then the person that's being the victim, like they are now being, assaulted with all these things. Like, oh, well, she was just doing it for clout. She's just trying to get attention. But she's like, no, like she's a fucking victim. Like, fuck out of here. Like, you're not about to do that. Like,
go ahead. And what was you about to say?
No, I was going to say that we have these things where we also need to make sure that our males feel safe to be vulnerable enough to say, I felt uncomfortable in the situation too, or I didn't want to, I didn't want this to happen, or that, like I said, 1 in 5 males report sexual harassment, and that's only reporting. We know reporting isn't all numbers.
Maybe half of what actually happens.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen, the same thing with domestic abuse. I've had clients that are male to domestic abuse. They will never call the cops. And then one day they snap and they hit the person who goes to jail. They do, because they felt like they were lesser or weaker if they reported what was going on in the home. And we need the things I would like to see us do is advocate that assertive communication where I like you, you like me, let's do this. Hey, I'm flying you out because I want to have this type of relationship with you. No trickery, no shell game, we just friends and we doing none of that stuff. Blatantly say this is what. Now you don't have to be rude or crass or anything like that, but just blatantly, this is the type of relationship I want with you.
I'm feeling you.
Be upfront.
Yeah.
What was that?
Give me the option of knowing all of the options and all the ins and outs, because I do have a right to tell you no. And that's why a lot of men or whoever will like mislead, because they don't want to give you the option of saying no. And so they don't give you the option themselves. And you think that you're walking into something where you have autonomy and agency, and you don't.
And in this day and age, if that person isn't with whatever you're trying to do, there will be somebody else that will.
There will be somebody else.
Exactly.
Oh my
God. A lot of people,
but
this is the type of shit that you don't do. You don't get and because this actually happened to me. You don't get on the elevator with somebody and out of the fucking blue, you've never talked to this person out of the blue. You're like, my wife, and I divorced and my kids are out of the home. And then you walk the fuck off.
Huh?
That's what this one chick I used to work with dropped on me.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was that an invitation? What the fuck?
That was a straight up fucking invitation. And then another one stopped me and was like,
now see, Window, like for me, I'd have been confused. I'm like, does that mean we fucking or no? Because
like
that's
what it was leading to just now.
Yeah, because I'd have been confused on the elevator. I'm like, sorry, does that mean we fucking?
Because I sat there, I listened.
I
processed it as I was walking to my area. And I laughed my fucking ass off because I'm like, yo, did she just?
Somebody said that's how old heads invite people to have sex.
Yeah, I'm like, but then
my marriage ain't happy, right? You be like, wait, does that mean you want dick?
But see, this is the crazy thing about it. I had another woman do something slightly different, and this was when I actually wore my wedding ring. She was like, "Oh, I was wondering if you're married. I see your ring now, because I was going to hit you up for." I'm like, where the fuck this come from? I've been here for 10 fucking years. How y'all?
My wife will shoot us both.
I'm like,
it's a pheromone.
Well, I guess at the end of the day, it's just how you approach people when you have a desire. Like Ant was saying before, it's one thing to be, even when you, if you're going to want an enthusiastic yes, please be clear in your intention.
Yes,
both of them were clear in their intentions.
Well, no, I'm not even. But I'm talking about I guess because I want there to be tangible things after the fact. Stop using the vague shit to try to elicit what you want.
Yeah, like don't say that you want me. Like, okay, not everybody knows what Netflix and chill is. Like, because I'm like they made a movie where it was like I'm trying to play Smash Brothers, and people like I was trying to play Smash Brothers, and you trying to smash. Like,
no, you trying to smash, brother.
What's happening? Right. I was trying to smash my brother. I don't know.
Right.
What's going on?
No.
So you got to say that because, like I said, you could have the intentions of doing one thing, but it could be something else, and they get there, and now they make a move on you. You're like, nigga, we ain't supposed to be doing that.
Because to me, if we talking about predators, that's called laying a trap. If I say, hey, I got Uno and drinks and food back at the hotel room.
Snacks?
And I just went, see, I got you with the snacks. I knew what I'm saying. But if I said, but if all I invited you for was for the snacks and whatnot, then if I had some ulterior motive, then you be real with that before you invite that person.
But I'm leaving.
That actually happened to one of my boys recently. Like they met him at BlurCon, and like he just kept pressing him, like, yeah, you know, like since we know each other now, like maybe we should hang out, you know, and you could come over. And like he just kept pressing him about coming over and just like chilling and hanging out. And he's seen that he was a mutual friend with somebody else, so he asked him like, yo, do you know this person? He's keep and he's like, oh yeah, he's definitely trying to fuck you. Like he's definitely that's so it is like no, because see, this is the problem. You can get in a situation like that and his intentions could be just to hang with you. Like he might want to meet somebody new, and then you press him, and now y'all in your house fighting because he's not that way, but you're pressing him to do that. That's not okay. We can't keep doing this as a culture.
And stop allowing your friends to do it. No, I'm saying, if you're gonna be my homie, I'm telling you right now, I have a new standard for men who are my friends, because I will no longer, and I have in the past, like, well, that's what that nigga do. I don't do that. I no longer can allow that. So if you're gonna be my homie and my friend, this that, you be like, yeah, Kurt, I'm about to finesse her. You know, I got drinks and whatnot. Did you tell her you was about to finesse her? Did you say that? Did you tell her what your intentions are? Were you honest in what you wanted? And honestly, even for me in my personal life, I have found being brutally honest has been more beneficial than detrimental. Listen, because a person knows going in what you get with Kurt. And you that way at night. Bro, and at the end of the day, there's no confusion, there's no nothing. And 9 times out of 10, just like everybody said, there are 7 billion people on Earth. But one person doesn't want, another person will, and there is really no reason to have to coax anybody to doing something that they don't want to do. And please help these people. Let them know that there's more.
I was gonna say, and before you go, can you wrap all of this up in a nutshell on? Yeah,
I would just say that. Everything you heard today about consent, real stories, real feelings, things like that. You aren't alone if you've been feeling like this. You aren't alone if you felt like you had no choice. It's not your fault. There are people who are professional predators, right? Professional scam artists, things like that. This is what they do for a living. And just like they might get you out your money, they might have got you in the bed, or might be able to force you or anything like that. You're not dumb. You're not stupid. You weren't weak. You weren't anything like that. You was a predator who preyed on you. That's what happened. And I would encourage you to talk to someone, therapist. If you don't know how to get to a therapist, talk to your primary care provider, and they'll probably link you up with a therapist. But seek help. Make sure you're talking about this stuff. Those secrets, those guilts, those shames, it will come out in some other way that you can't control if you don't deal with it. And that's something that I would voice for that. But besides that, if you take anything from that, even if you've been doing some of these behaviors and you just got an awakening moment right now, stop. There is a path to redemption right now. Stop. Just stop. And we all grow. We all grow. One of the things I don't like about some of the things with cancel culture is that it seems like a person can only be that person they were 20 years ago. I know 20 years ago, I was saying that's gay all the time. I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, oh,
remember what? Thank you.
I was like, that's gay. That's gay. And when I learned what that meant, I stopped. I was able to grow and change. You know, I probably can't admit that right now, but I was able to grow and change. So just stop, grow. You know better. You can't say you don't know. And your boys doing something that they don't know, show them this video, show them another video, show them the T video, and say, hey, this isn't cool. You know, so that's what I would say from that.
And that's such a good example of growth, because I remember that. And I mean no disrespect by saying this. Usually when you say that, I mean you're able to be disrespectful. Right. But when yo, that's gay. Yo, you a faggot. Like that used to just roll off my tongue. And it's cringeworthy now, because now I know it's a slur. Now I know that's inappropriate to say. Right. And I can genuinely say the man who I was 5 years ago is not the man who I am now. The same for you. If you were engaging in predatory behavior, please, by all means, stop that shit. Stop it. Because after this live, after this video,
you can't say you don't know.
You can't say you don't know. And genuinely, I want everybody to hit the heart react button on this video. So that way I can take account of who saw this shit, because I'm gonna whoop your ass if I see you doing some fuck shit after this shit. I'm dead serious, because at some point there has to be accountability for your actions, because you've gotten away with it to this point. You now have a chance to correct course.
Yeah.
To correct course. Because I'm telling you right now, karma is a motherfucker.
And
yeah, I mean, I don't listen, Doc. I don't know if that's a clinical designation, but listen, all I'm saying, karma and ass whipping is how I medically treat the shit. So, because right now people are feeling empowered. No longer are we going to stand idly by and watch you bully, harass, or pressure anyone, male, female, or other. No matter how if you are a non-binary, I don't care. If you are uncomfortable, you have resources in us. If you see us at these events, and guess what? You convention owners, you need to start putting things in place for people to be able to come to the convention and say, "Hey, this is what's going on," and something actionable is done.
So I want to put out some tips from the community as well that I got. So if you want to, did anybody want to piggyback on it or add their 2 cents, that's fine. I was one was try not to get blacked out drunk. Not only is it not appealing, but it's very dangerous. I don't care who you are. Okay. Stay in a group. Period. Mm-hmm. If the group decides to split up, nobody should ever end up on their own, especially in garages, whatever. Period. If you are alone, don't dilly-dally. Promptly move from one place to another with purpose, whether it's your car, to the bathroom, etc. Because at that moment, you dilly-dally is when it's a predator's idle time. Like, because trust, they are watching you. Take someone with you to meet new internet friends. Period.
That's a good one.
Please.
Because like I said, it doesn't matter who they are. Like, they could be cool as shit online, but understand that as an online persona. That might not be them in real life.
Amen
you know
to
what I mean?
that.
So take someone with you when you go meet these new internet friends, because, stranger danger. Make notes.
Internet friends.
Internet friends. Internet friends. Okay. Right. I know a lot of us was in those AOL chat rooms back when we was like 13.
Stop telling my business now. Yeah,
we was in there talking to strangers. This ain't the same thing, okay? Because this is different. This is dangerous, So, like I said, you might think they're one way online because their life might put them, in a certain, but no, they could be totally different.
Also, let me challenge that real quick too. Also, if you are going as a wingman with these situations, question that person that other person is going to see, because they may not even actually be friends in the first place. Just because y'all liked each other's pictures don't mean a damn thing.
Right.
Yeah. Amen to that. No, that's real shit, because
that's important.
Because guess what? COVID, y'all don't understand. COVID fucked up the internet game. I'm gonna tell you that right now, because that's how we all got to interact with each other. So you think you really know this person? You've been talking to them for a year via Zoom, and then they try to Zoom and whoop your ass when you finally see them in person. Because no, because these are not
beat your ass.
Listen, because look, this camera hides a multitude of things. Y'all don't understand. I got dirty clothes all behind this shit. Y'all don't see that.
It's about 4. I kept moving the camera like, can they see my bra?
Listen. I keep looking at it. I'll be like, God damn, they can see the dirty laundry. Fuck, man. But that's what I'm saying. You can't see people's dirty laundry. Yeah, exactly. God damn.
Get that light up, goddamn.
We trying to give you a real example of
like I sat on the couch with the wall behind me. There ain't shit behind me.
Because you can hide a multitude of things, personality-wise, behind these fucking cameras.
You can be fake as fuck, even in person.
Yeah,
even in person, because
that's a whole nother special.
I'm gonna allude to some shit that I've been dealing with for the past year and a half now, and the fuck boy still doing his shit. Even though he's been told by judges and fucking police to leave this other person alone.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to.
I've known
No,
this.
I'm aware of that situation too, and that has been a thing. Like I said, there have been plenty of people.
Hold on, before we.
I'm not naming any names.
No, not even naming any names because we are about to hit the 2 hour and 20 minute mark. Before No. I was about to say and that's why I wanted to get back with it. Let's get to the list first so that people can who's been on with us for the whole 2.5 hours, they get the actionable things. Go ahead, Nate. Finish that list real quick.
Okay.
Well,
so take somebody.
I was coming back to that.
With the internet to meet internet friends. Make note of con staff and security so that if something does happen, you know exactly who to go to and who to talk to. Some conventions have like information booths or like help stands or whatever, but yeah, because like I said, they are standing around. Like a lot of people said they want more security in cons, and there are some, but you just might not know them. They might be plain clothes, they might not have a staff. So if that's one of the things on your mind, make note of that as soon as you come into before you start spending money and get all crazy and get sidetracked. Make sure you know everything. You know what I mean? So another thing was have people who know where you are and are expected to be in case something happens. So if they know that you are going to a panel or hosting a panel at 6 or something and you ain't there, like somebody can take account that, hey, something's off. I don't know, she not answer her phone, yada, yada, yada. Another thing is if you do not want to be hugged or touched or whatever, say that. It is okay to say no. Like one topic kept coming up was glomping, where somebody just comes from behind you and just picks you up and hugs you from behind. That's not okay. Like, get consent first. It is okay to say no. Please do not be afraid to say no or seem like you're not approachable or seem like you're being a bitch about it. Like, boundaries are boundaries. They're here for a reason. They're here to protect you. Keep your hands to yourself. A lot of men said that and they wanted that to be known. Keep your hands to yourself, because I know, like I said, I talked to Nigeria about this one time. Like he said, as a photographer, he makes sure of his hand placement when he is taking pictures with somebody. Like people, just because, like, keep it above the waist. Okay, if you're gonna hug somebody and take a picture with them, keep it above the waist at all times.
I mean, and it also, not just me. It's just if I'm doing a shoot with somebody and somebody wants to come over and take photos with somebody or inadvertently wants to get a hug or something for whatever reason, it's just like, ask one, and then two, it doesn't aesthetically look nice, but you got to have that reptile hand. You got to kind of let the thing just kind of hang out and just like it is what it is, or ball your fist up. But look, I say it all the time. I'm never going to be that guy, so I'm always going to be the one that's doing something weird like that. And I was like, look, do what you gotta do, but just don't think it's okay. Cause I actually really hate a certain particular spot being touched. And like some people do it, and I just be like, hey, just don't do it again. Like it's cool. Just don't do it again. You don't know. Cause you think, like somebody said earlier, you're taught to not touch certain areas. You're not taught to not touch no areas. So people start thinking like, well, I can't go there, but maybe I can go there. Like even things that people think is appropriate, no, because you never know. By the way, don't touch my ears.
He was like, by the way, I'm gonna just throw this caveat out there.
We do that in pole a lot, because especially a lot of the times you're gonna have your crotch facing a certain way and your legs may be like wide the fuck open. So in pole, I'll be like, hey, I'll show you on my body what your body part should be doing, or where you're supposed to be applying pressure. Especially, usually I'm helping somebody like bigger, like myself, or even like maybe somebody smaller who just don't get it. I'll be like, okay, I'm going to show you on my body where the pole is supposed to go, where you're supposed to apply counter pressure. And I'll be like, and then I'll wait for them to be like, oh, no, you can touch me there. And I'll be like, okay, cool. Then I'll move in, hands open, not like closed, like super grabby. I'm gonna be like, okay, and then this is this. I'm not reaching, I'm not grabbing, I'm not squeezing, because that's your body, and I don't want those. Mm-hmm.
And the last thing was also watch out for cosplayers, even if they are appearing as women. And this is from a cosplayer that I know personally. He's male, and he portrays a female often, and people have come up to him and just like started talking to him, like younger kids just come up talking to him because they think that he's a woman, and people will prey on that as well. So please I'm not saying be transphobic. That's not what I'm saying here. People find comfort in certain things, and if it's a person appearing as something, it might seem comfortable, but it's not. You shouldn't be, is what I'm saying. So if anybody has anything to piggyback off of those tips from the community, feel free.
I hate to say it, but this assumes the worst in every situation. Protect yourself. That way you're protecting other people. If you're being conscious about your space, I guarantee you're also equally benefiting that other person's space. It's super simple. You know what's funny? We should like all this. I think social distancing is a made up word to kind of like fit the suit of what was happening with the pandemic. Because to me, it's just common sense. Like, get the hell off of people's backs. Shouldn't be up on somebody's back in the store. You damn sure shouldn't be on nobody's face all the time. But they had to come up with a term with it. But so now that we got the term, that mentality should just be applied for the rest of our lives.
Right.
Give people space.
It's wonderful.
Right. And then for me, one of the things I do, especially when you go into crowded cons like NYCC or Dragon Con or San Diego, going through crowds, especially if it's somebody you don't know that's in front of you.
I know where you're going.
Them, what I do, this is exactly what I do. I close my hands, I put my hands in the center of their back, and I let them know, hey, I'm behind you. I'm putting pressure on your back just to let you know I'm here. And to keep me from being pushed into you.
Hey,
so you don't have to worry about anything, but I'm making sure that nobody comes up on top of you or on top of me.
Hey, let me say something really quick too. And this is my last comment. I guarantee you that none of us are like experts in none of this. Like we just going through our experiences, and But I can assure you one thing. As a black male, I don't care what space we in. We ultimately are overly trying to protect ourselves, and these where these tactics start to come into play. Because you're just like, I'm not going to be that person that goes for that charge, because you just never know. That inadvertent went past somebody, and that was like, and it's like, well, that wasn't my intentions. Do you think they care?
We are in a perpetual state of fear of getting arrested.
Bingo.
Or shot.
Bingo.
I'm not in the military anymore.
Bingo.
I don't need nothing named that my black ass.
Misunderstandings kill us. But even then, to everybody's point on the panel, and I think, Nate, that was a phenomenal list. And while Sinead was going down the list, I tried to put up as many people and suggestions from the chat, and there was a lot of great information on both. If y'all need to go back and recap it, go ahead, Taff.
So just to kind of like piggyback off of some of the things Sinead said, when I go out by myself, like on dates or like to meet, because I've made a lot of new internet friends, the one thing I do is I always take a picture of the person I'm with. I send a picture from like their profile to be like, this is who I'm going to meet. I tell people where I'm going, what time I'm supposed to be there, what we are doing, so they know how long I'm supposed to be out. And then I snap a picture of that person while we are there. This is what they look like here now while I am with them. Sometimes you may not feel comfortable doing that, or somebody's like, ew, you're on your phone. Be like, oh, can we take a selfie? Then you take a selfie. This way they know I take a selfie before I go out. This is like, so when people are like, because God forbid the cops need to look for you, they don't know what you look like. All they got is your Facebook profile picture that was last updated 2 years ago. No, this is what she looked like when she walked out the house. This is what this person looked like when they walked out the house. Try and get people's government name. I'm not going to meet at King Kurt Live. That fucking person doesn't exist. They are an internet persona.
You gotta use me.
Shut up. Shut up.
The band?
Right. No. I'm meeting this person. This is their real name. Or at least get like their first name. I'm not saying you gotta have they go.
So now I gotta get my goddamn real name to everybody. Shit. You done fucked my shit.
And also another thing, I just thought about it on the fly.
Yeah, that's what I like. I prefer that. Like,
Let me add this real quick. I just thought about something. Most people, a lot of times, get into these hotel rooms with a lot of people they don't know because they want the rates to be cheaper. Be careful, because I have heard many stories where somebody has roomed with somebody they didn't know and they was fucking in the bed next to them, or somebody was shooting their OnlyFans content and they was having an orgy and was like, hey, you want to join? Like, you got to be careful. I'm not saying anything. I'm
That's
not
not
slut
even no
shaming
extreme
nobody.
case.
I'm
I'm
not
with
kink
Nay.
shaming
That shit
nobody.
happens on a
But
regular.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's
Yeah,
like,
crazy.
if you're like, your child is like 16 and this is their friends or something and they're all rooming together, or even 18, because people be deep in them hotel rooms, okay? And shit happens. So just, because people put their rooms up all the time. I'm just looking for a roommate or whatever. Like, just be careful. Be fucking careful. Okay.
Well, to Nay's point, the only two things that I want to add to that is also, no matter who you are, if you're getting into a car with somebody that you are not familiar with, please let's normalize saying, "Do you mind if I take a picture of your license plate?" Because
I don't know what's going on with that baby.
You nice for asking.
Yeah,
do it.
No, because no, genuinely. See, no, because it's a safety thing too. Because you don't want somebody to feel like it's about to be a setup. Because if you get in, I don't know you about to get in my car. What you get my license plate for? Hold on, where we going? I don't know this location. It's safety on both parts. It's about being transparent. Hey, I just want to do this as a matter of my protocol before ladies and gentlemen, have a protocol. An established protocol for how you begin to behave, and don't be fearful of establishing that, because somebody who honestly cares about you or wants to get to know you ain't gonna give a damn because they don't have ill intent. See, that's the thing. And if they do have ill intent and say, "Oh no, you can't do that," then you might want to strongly rethink going in that room, getting in that car, or walking off with this individual, because if they don't want to do those things, whether it be because they're about to chop you up or because wifey might see it later on, oh well, then you should be ethical in all you're doing. Because that's all I'm saying. Because today's point, I've seen it. I've seen people in these chats say, "Hey, I'm going to this convention. Who got a room available?" Or it could be, "Hey, I want to be where the action is, and all the hotel rooms are booked up. So your only option is the room with somebody."
And so I just came to my mind, and like I said, we can wrap this up after that. The person that had the whole revenge porn situation with me, I had heard something about this person a while ago, but I was in the middle of going to court, taking my ex to court or whatever, and it's a whole bunch of shit. That person apparently roomed with two females, and one of the females woke up with him inside of her. Now, from rape. That situation to my situation, even when my situation happened, so many people was like, "I don't see that happening because he's a feminist and he's a good guy." Bitch, these are the screenshots. They're in your face. You know what I mean? So these people this person's a feminist, this person is a good person. This doesn't I don't see them. It happens. It happens when you least suspect it. So you have to be vigilant on these things. You can't, like I said, I remember hearing something, but I don't remember hearing it per se. And I had happened to be the victim. You know what I mean? So it's applied to everybody.
So to put this in layman's terms, folks, don't get caught off of someone's status quo as if they're exempt from doing wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Everybody's
because there's definitely some examples of, oh, that person can never do that. They represent that. African Black Lives Matter in their profile. They can't be racist.
And
African Bambaataa just got sued and arrested for child trafficking. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Our heroes ain't what we thought they were.
Yeah.
Period. And guess what? And these little fake internet famous people, because guess what? Just because just because King Kurt Live sit up here and say, "Oh well, Kurt he got the support of dope black women and this, that, and the third." Guess what? I'm not exempt from being a piece of shit.
Yep.
No,
I'm just not. Yeah, all right, that was a little too damn enthusiastic. but honestly, everybody has to show. Everybody has to show and prove. Everybody.
I just had one more thing, because I know we didn't talk about this, but like fight, flight, and like freeze, like that's a real thing. And I always tell people, like, don't be afraid to stand your ground. And if you can't stand your ground, get the fuck out of it. Like,
It doesn't make you weak for leaving. Like, get the fuck out of there.
It doesn't.
That means
Like,
you
if you have
survived.
to run, no.
Right.
My mom was always told me I would rather you be at home and get away than you like put yourself in a situation where you in jail or you dead or something bad happened to you or whatever. So I'm kind of like I'm a walk away kind of person. So like, because people think that like, oh well, because you didn't say anything, because you're just allowing things to happen. It's like, no, I'm trying not to punch you in the fucking face, or I'm trying not to cuss you out because I'm at work. Like, I'm working right now. A lot of the times when we go to cons, I'm a personality. I have to be nice to you, jiggle my titties and all that other shit, because I want you to watch the show.
You know, twerk in your general vicinity, but that don't mean you can fucking touch me.
Right, but no. So don't be afraid to stand your ground and be like, "Hey, don't touch me." Male, female, non-binary. Like, don't be afraid to be like, "No, that's not right. No, this is not okay. This is my boundary." And if people are willing to overstep your boundary, or maybe you not as local, don't be afraid to be like, "All right, cool, I'm gonna go by." No, you are not welcome to come with me.
Yes.
And if you don't like, or like Janae said, like, you can walk. I've had people roll up on me and be like, so I'm just trying to get away from so and so. They make me so uncomfortable. Do you mind if I just stand with you for a little bit? I'll be like, can I put my arms around you? Like, you are my new best friend for this next 10, 15 minutes. I'll walk you to your hotel room, whatever. Like, and if I see people like my friends, like, I've rolled up on my friends and been like, "Hey, so are you okay? What's going on here?"
Yeah.
Like, and I will move my friend away from this person. I'm not afraid to be called the cock block, because nigga, she didn't want your dick no way, so you was blocking yourself.
There you go.
So I will walk up in between you and be like, "Hey girl, you cool? Because we got a thing in a few minutes. Do you want to roll? Cool, let's go." Like, and if you want freeze, holler, because that's what the fuck I do. I just get loud and get weird. Because I'm not afraid to have people think that I'm weird.
But even for the people who are not as outgoing or not, it's okay to be internally unsure. What is not okay is to allow somebody to do something that you don't want them to do and be silent or have no action. What we want to do is we want to incite you to action. We know that these feelings are out here. A lot of us on this panel are extroverted naturally. Like, these hands come quick. We serve them hot and ready like Little Caesar's pizza. But I'm talking to the individuals who may not have that in them innately. What you have to do is now you have to take actionable steps to make sure that you are cared for, because we care about you. Shanae cares about you. Teff does. Big Smooth. I mean, everybody here wants to make sure that everybody enjoys these events, these conventions, and the things that we do in this culture safely. And what concerns me the most is really a lot of you come from out of town.
Yep.
And you're rooming with people, you're engaging with people who you don't particularly know that well, but your stay is contingent upon them. Or you don't have the resources to just, book a flight, get out of there. Or you might not be able to just get up and leave. These are the times and the things where you have to start planning and putting things in place to protect yourself, because just in case. Just like nobody's trying to be negative. But what do I do when I get here and this person says, "Hey, you can't stay in this room unless you fuck me." Or, "Hey, I'm not picking you up from the airport unless I know." You have to start to plan and prepare for what happens just in case. What am I going to? Just the same way I walk into every building thinking,
have a backup
if there's a fire or an active shoot, and this is just my train. I innately think, what am I going to do if this happens in this place? We have to start establishing that, especially when it comes to sexual harassment, because it's becoming more and more prevalent. These motherfuckers are getting more and more bold, and audacity is at an all-time high.
Right.
Yep. That's the message.
Privilege.
That's the post. Shit.
White privilege isn't the only privilege that you're starting to see more of. I just put it like that. A lot of motherfuckers think they're privileged and really need a foot in their ass, but
Well, I got two, and then there's at least more than a couple pair to put some foots in asses. But we can't put our foot in every predator's ass. So y'all have to, and I need y'all to take that. This is one of the key takeaways. We might not be there for you to look for help. So and I'm not victim blaming, but we don't want you to be a victim. Mm-hmm. So we really need to start doing actionable things, having these discussions. Shanae, this was a wonderful, wonderful fucking idea to put this together.
All of you, honestly. Like I when I put all you together and y'all just started talking, I was like, I did amazing. These niggas is smart. Like
yeah, but see, y'all gotta stop talking while I'm.
It was so much wisdom here. I appreciate it. I do, honestly.
No, Shanae, and I sing your praises, regardless, just because you're my people's, but it takes a lot to say, I'm going to talk about not only my situation, but also I'm going to speak up for those who may not have the voice.
That right there.
And that's the thing. Trust me. One of the things that's interesting is when Shanae came out with not only her expose, but just talking about things, we were a flood of people who came to us and was like, this is what I got going on. Now, because we are a platform, we have to vet things in a certain type of way. We can't tell every story, but the stories that we have been hearing, trust us, it is a problem, it's prevalent, and the shit needs to stop.
If there's anything that I want any of you to take away from today, more than anything, like a lot of what happens to us is not our fault. But we take that and we internalize that, and we are the ones that feel ashamed and we feel dirty, and all of that we feel is not for us to feel. So getting it back up off of us to put it then on the predator is what I want you guys to do, if possible, because I should not feel ashamed and dirty and guilty because I didn't do anything to you. So I'm gonna let people know about you so that they know who you are. And now all that guilt and shame can go back on to you. So that's what I really, if anything, I want people to start doing. But again, I understand retaliation is a thing. So do it the right way. If it has happened to you already, like I said, I've had like 3 or 4 court cases in the last 2 years, from revenge porn to criminal to restraining orders to something else because of what happened, like the person that I was dealing with had to go through domestic abuse training. Like there was so many things that I didn't know was available to me until I did something about it. Because I'm a type of person like, nigga, if you put your hands on me, we both gonna die. So just know that. So I'm not really like, it took my friends to say, no, you need a paper trail. You need to have this lined up in case something happens. And that's why I had that, because I had friends that was like, nah, like it didn't go that far yet, and it might. So I had those things. Now, as far as you guys, if it hasn't happened, this is me trying to prevent it from happening. Because again, people play on their fame. People play on their money. People play on you looking up to them. Oh, you look up to me like that? You got to be careful out here. Because like I said, people are watching you. I can't tell you how many times I get all kinds of shit. Okay. I get all kinds of shit. I told myself after my situation, I said, I do not want to be a poster child for bad shit that happens in this community. I can't tell you how many people message me on a regular about their divorce or abuse or whatever. And I have been able to aid people to say, we'll do this, we'll call this number. Did you do this? And that's helpful to me, because at least somebody's trying to do something about it. So like I said, I literally had somebody that has like 300,000 followers message me the other day, like, have you ever been through? I'm like, yeah, nigga, let's talk. Like, this is what happens. So don't think that people aren't watching your life. Like, they are. So like, just like they're watching me to get advice, they might be watching you to prey on you. So just, if anything.
Yeah, if what I want to add to that though is, don't be scared to create a group of people that you can talk to.
Right.
Whether they be older, younger, just create a group of people that you feel safe to talk to, because there's a group of us that have been doing exactly that. We've been pulling people up and we've been talking with them. We've been counseling them. so to speak, and it's been a good thing. The people that we've been talking with have been able to get a lot of shit off their chest and learn how to deal with certain things that were happening in their lives at that time. And most of them are doing better as a result of it. And it's not like we were sitting there saying, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like, nah, let that petty shit slide this time.
Mm-hmm.
Or in a situation where somebody actually did say or do something that was outrageous, okay, go ahead and put a foot in their ass. You got our backing on that, because that was a little bit over. They stepped over the line on that. We can understand why you're upset, but always make sure you have a group of at least 2 to 3 people. I don't say 1 or 2, because one person will just be in it to be like, yo, whatever.
No, I think this is the point. Everybody here, the overall theme is community.
Yeah.
If you don't have the community, build the community. And if you're a part of this community, open your fucking mouths. No longer is it okay to be silent about this shit and watch it happen. I never want to hear another individual say, oh, I saw that happen. That's crazy. No, what did you do? Did you interject yourself? Did you at least pull that person aside and say, hey, you need to go talk to this person or that person? You don't even have to get involved in the situation. Go to the con, go to the hotel and say, hey, this person looks like they're in an uncomfortable situation. Can you send somebody over there to check on them? There is something you can do. Something. Don't do nothing. Do something. Something. So as we get ready to get out of here, this will bring a close to our State of the Culture address. I'm pretty sure that a lot of information have been given out and disseminated over the course of the last almost 3 hours. There's a lot of information that you can go through. There are great tidbits, but my challenge to the community is, 1, content creators. This should not be the last time this is addressed. You have platforms, big or small. I challenge you to find someone who wants to tell their story, or I challenge you to tell your own story, or I challenge you to do some kind of research or information to keep this conversation going so that we can spread the message. Our platform is big, but it is only but so big. And we need all hands on deck, because this is a problem that can no longer be a problem. Because I think of young Violet Verse, who is growing up in this community, and that's like baby sis to me. And I don't have the belief that it can be eradicated, but I damn sure want to make things better by the time that she's older in this community. Because to me, for this to be an issue in the future, we have to be the ones to break the change right here. You, me, this panel. We don't care about what it was in the past, what somebody's culture was, what they did back in the day. We start a new day today.
Yep.
Going forward. Before everybody gets out of here, please give out your handles so people know where to follow and support all your content. Jerry, where can people follow you on social media?
BigOBelt.com. That'll get you everywhere you need to go.
My man. Nay, let them know.
You niggas, y'all know who I am. Don't act like y'all don't know me by now. God damn it. Now, and then,
it might be new people that don't know.
Honestly, I am Black Unicorn, BLK Unicorn, cosplay. So all of my handles are the same on all of them. And like I said, please feel free to inbox me. I'm here, because this is what we're here for. Like I said, I'm not a therapist, okay? I have a therapist. I'm not a therapist, but feel free to talk to me. And if anything, I can help you in a direction. Or if you just say, you know what, Nate, like you seem the motherly type I'm a Cancer. I will definitely, you can come hang with me. I'm not going to do nothing besides buy shit, eat candy, and go home. So I'm like very simple.
Buy shit, eat candy, and go home.
Yeah, I love it. All right. My man, Wendell. I'm sorry.
Wendell.
I said it the way I fucking wanted to say it. God damn it.
All right, well, I'm gonna put this 14 up your ass next month.
I don't want no problems.
See, all right, but my stuff is actually right there in my name. I made it easy. It's BIGSMU or scorpking.costuming, and it's not Scorpion King. It's Scorp King.
He said, make sure y'all
Scorpion King was already taken.
Nah, because they almost fucked up this weekend during Fashion Weekend and put it out there as Scorpion. Like
no, don't fuck that up.
Yeah.
Gawdess, please let them know where they can support you.
What's up, y'all? Y'all already know your friendly favorite neighborhood queer, Gawdess of the Odd, GAWDESS on all platforms.
Yes.
No spaces on Twitter and Instagram. There are underscores on Twitch, and there are spaces between my name on Facebook. Go and follow me on my Instagram and Facebook. I'm posting lots of content. I'm learning the shit, and memes and nasty humor. That's all me.
Big facts. And Teffy, please let them know how they can support the platform.
So before I give my handles out, you guys, thanks so much for rocking and rolling with us. It seemed like we can't do a show less than 3 hours somehow.
Yo, that's real shit.
We really do appreciate this. If you guys would like to see more of our content, some of our funny regular shit, you can head on over to headnerdsincharge.com. We post articles and stuff there monthly. You can get some of our merch, like the what's that? That's the sports bra you got on Love, or the tank top?
This is the sports bra made in Africa.
Okay, so like the Made in Africa sports bra Love got on, and the HNIC t-shirt that Shanae have on right now. You can go there and support our merch. We have other dope designs. I got one that says titties be tittying, but that's not consent to come up and touch my titties while they're doing their thing. Just remember that.
Call back to the lessons learned. Amen.
Right. So you can head over to our Patreon if you got a little bit more money. We have extra funny, super funny, very sexual content up there if that's your jam. We stream live every Wednesday on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, 8-ish to 10-ish. Listen, it's gonna be what it is. The CPT time is a real thing.
That 8 o'clock out.
You guys, right? We Head Nerds in Charge on all platforms: Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. So head on over there. And if you would like to follow me, I am at TeffyWonder over on the Instagrams, and TeffyWonder the Mocha Mermaid here on Facebook.
Y'all already know it's your boy King Kurt Live. Thank you to this amazing panel. Thank you to y'all who support this platform that allows us to be able to do content like this that touch you, the culture, the people. Y'all already know I'm never short on something to say, but it truly is. Don't laugh at that, love. They fuck you. I'm a firm believer in. I'm a firm believer in what Brother Fred Hampton said of the Black Panthers, that the power is truly in the people. See, nothing will change if we do not force that change.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
If we stay stacked, listen, Jennifer Lewis said, when you sit in it, do not sit in shit. Because after a while,
shit too long.
It stops stinking. Come up out of there.
Come the fuck up out of there.
And we will continue to address the bullshit with this community because it stinks. And it doesn't belong, and we smell it, and people are ignoring it.
And it's not just the deodorant smell.
No, it's definitely not just con funk. We will have another State of the Union address. Wash your ass, nigga. Starting, that's the next one coming down the line. Yeah. With the CEO of Johnson & Johnson will be on to discuss how to properly wipe your ass with baby powder that gives you cancer. You already know it's your boy King.
That got dark. Jesus.
Real quick, we're getting fucked up. Thank you again to everybody on the panel. Thank you for everybody who stuck around to support the platform. Please don't let this be the last time we have this conversation, and share this feed with anybody who feels as though they don't know what to do, or they have a story and they don't know who to talk to. You can message any one of us, and we are here to be not only a support, but to also to entertain and let everybody know that this community will stand for it no longer. See y'all next time on our next State of the Culture address, and see y'all on our regular weekly show. Thank you for the love and support of everybody who came on the panel. And look, y'all, just stay safe out in these streets. Stay the fuck safe.
For real.